What's up, guys? Happy Sunday. We are here finally for another classic WrestleMania watch along. Hope you guys are having a great weekend, great afternoon. This is going to be a fun one. I've been promising all week. We're going to take a look at WrestleMania 6. However, we did do a little back and forth on this and debated a little bit throughout the week here on the channel during the streams of whether or not we should do this one or not. Because as of right now, as Peacock begins to censor a lot of WWE's content, this is one of the first shows to get hit with all of the Roddy Piper and Bad News Brown stuff being removed. So I wasn't sure if we should do this one. I had a backup plan in place of WrestleMania 14 instead. But as the week went on, it became apparent that, as I talked to most of you, that the UK version and anybody else watching on the WWE Network, the Piper Bad News stuff has also been removed from there as well. So now when I check both of them, they're both gone, and there's still a 35-second difference in runtime. I think the WWE Network, I think the Peacock version is 35 seconds longer for some reason. That might trip us up a little bit, but for the most part, we should all be able to follow along just fine, regardless of whatever platform you're using. So this should be a lot of fun today. I've been looking forward to doing a more old-school WrestleMania one that I can, share my memories with all of you guys on, and I watched this live on pay-per-view back in 1990, and it was a pretty epic main event. I mean, it was their biggest since Hogan and Andre, and had a similar type of vibe. I mean, a match you didn't really envision. As a kid, you couldn't really even see happening. You had no idea who was going to win. Packed out a big, big dome in Toronto with just thousands of people there, and it was quite the scene at the Sky Dome for 6 in 1990. So that's what we're going to do today. I want to say hello to everybody here in the chat that's hanging out. The last couple of watch-alongs we've done have had a really good audience. We've had good feedback on them. We did WrestleMania 17 and WrestleMania 19. We also did a couple of Royal Rumbles as well. So this is going to be a regular feature on the channel throughout the course of the year. As we get close to big pay-per-views and stuff, we'll try to do some of these because they're fun and they're easy. And it gives us a chance to hang out and chill together on a weekend and watch some wrestling from a time period when wrestling was a lot better than it is now. But we're not going to shoot the shit for too much longer here. I just want to wait a couple of minutes, let some people gather in the chat, and let you pull up your WWE Network or Peacock, and we're going to start at the very beginning. Now, I don't know throughout the course of the pay-per-view, whichever tier you have on Peacock, not sure if you're going to see ads or not. Basically, the only thing you want to do is make sure your timer matches the timer on the top of the screen above my head. I am watching on Peacock, so those of you watching on Peacock, as long as you match up with the timer, you and I will be on the same page, we'll be in sync. People on the WWE Network, there's going to be a 30-second difference in here somewhere, and I'm not sure exactly where that transparency takes place or if it's a gradual deal throughout the show. Barry had let me know they do some fades to advertisements and stuff on the Peacock version, so that might be a part of it. And if you don't pay for a plus tier, I've got the full tier, so I don't know what the regular premium gets, but if you see ads throughout the show, you might. So that might trip you up a little bit. So if that happens, just keep matching your timer up to the one above my head, and we should be fine for the most part. WWE Network watchers will have a little 30-second difference between those of us watching on Peacock. That's the only thing, and I think that's kind of manageable. And it really sucks, as we talked about yesterday on the podcast, with all these edits and the censoring that's going to take place of WWE's content on the Peacock platform. This really sucks for stuff like this, for watch-alongs or YouTubers, or, if we want to do something together, if we're watching on different platforms and they're all different lengths with different shit edited, that's going to be a mess. So far, big thumbs down for the move to Peacock. WWE sure made out like bandits, made a bunch of money, but it is fucking the fans over royally. But that will not deter us. We're here regardless to watch WrestleMania 6. It's about 3 hours and 22 minutes long. As a matter of fact, I have it in my notes here just for those of you who are following along. We've got the Peacock. Oh, no, I don't. I just have the difference there. Never mind. I'm sorry. So, yeah. I think it's the Peacock version that's longer, though, 35 seconds longer. So anyway, should not really matter for the most part. I think the watch-along experience should be about the same for all of us. So as I'm flapping my gums here and I answer these couple of super chats, make sure you fire up your Peacock or your WWE Network, watch any ads you need to watch, and just get that timer to all zeros across the board, and we're all going to hit play together on the count of 3. But we'll do that here in just a couple of minutes. I'll give you guys a chance to get your shit queued up. Let me just say hello to Maka International and Wheezy. Good, you are here. You're in charge, man. Keep an eye out for everything for me. I appreciate it. Melissa is here. Jet the Hawk is here. Gamer Boy, Mike Witt, Nerdscape, Deshaun. What's up? Sonic Plays. We've got George Morris with the $5. Hey, Greg, how you doing? I just ordered WrestleMania shirts with the original logo. That's awesome. And WrestleMania 6 shirt and WrestleMania 6 DVD has no Ventura voice. Wow, that's crazy. I actually have few versions of WrestleMania 6 I'll share with you in a minute. I didn't know they took Ventura out of the entire DVD, the entire pay-per-view. Oh, that's messed up. I wonder if that's the case. Probably not. I wonder if that's the case on that box set. After WrestleMania 21, WWE released the box set. Where the fuck is it? It's up here somewhere. But it was the first 21 WrestleManias all in one. WrestleMania 6 is in there. I'm curious. I've never really opened it up and put the DVD in. So I'm curious if Ventura is on that. Otherwise, I've got this bad boy right here, WrestleMania 6 Coliseum video. It's really busted. I need a better version of this. I need to shop eBay for a better copy. But I do have one from back in the day, and I actually have my original recording that I recorded myself off of pay-per-view from this very night. So I have at least 3 versions of WrestleMania 6, maybe more. But if they took him out, if they took Jesse Ventura, who's a big part of, you know, getting that match over at the end and stuff, he's a huge part of WrestleMania 6. How the hell can you do that? Messed up, man. Barry, it's because Peacock. Oh, that's right. You're the one that told me this yesterday. So Barry is claiming that the reason there's this 35-second differential between the two, it's because Peacock fades to black for ads, which adds time to all of their videos. Okay, see, I don't see any ads, so, but it's still different for me. I mean, maybe that's just, I don't know how that all works, but that's a good example of why this is going to suck, because Peacock is going to have things done a little differently. The way you view ads or the way you view anything else on the platform. You know, WWE Network is, you know, they're going to be adapting to that, not the other way around. So if you have the 2 different platforms for people in other parts of the world or the UK or just, you know, regular network users wherever you are, it might cause a problem, but we will figure it out. And hey, when it comes to watch-alongs in the future, you guys can help do the research here. If you guys have some ideas of shows that would be good to do that you know has very minimal editing, or even better, no editing at all, let us know. Throw out your suggestions. We'll take a look and we'll do some watch-alongs throughout the course of the year, and we'll try to pick ones that will be best for the watch-along viewer. You know what I mean? But anyway, I'll shut up now. Let's get WrestleMania 6 pulled up here. I've got mine ready to go. We're going to do this at a countdown from 3. I'll go 3 to 2 to 1. I just want to make sure mine is all back on all zeros, because mine was actually playing a minute ago there. And then I got to do the double mouse deal, because I have to start the timer at the top of my head and I have to hit play at the same time. So I need a sip of alcohol before I do this. So cheers to WrestleMania 6, one of my favorite WrestleManias of all time. Luckily, I do not have a Hulk Hogan or Ultimate Warrior IPA. We're doing Broken Skull IPA, courtesy of Stone Cold, a guy I like a lot better than the 2 guys in this main event. But cheers to everybody who's watching tonight. This should be fun. Get your fingers on the buzzers, and we're going to do a countdown from 3 and start the pay-per-view. All right, my finger is on the Peacock, and my finger is on, excuse me, the timer. All right, let me make sure this is good. All right, we're going to count down from 3. All ready to go? Here we go. 3, 2, 1, play. All right, I'm good on my end. Vince's voice. The intros to these WrestleManias were fabulous. I miss that old theme song. Shout out to RoseScythe from YouTube with a brilliant cover of WrestleMania that I used in the countdown screen there. WrestleMania. Nobody did it better than Vince. They should bring that back. They should have Vince voice an intro. Well, he wouldn't be able to do it now very well in his old age, but... All right, look at that crowd, man. I don't remember what the attendance is, but I think it's 67,000, something like that. This was huge. To set the stage for you, I'm sitting on my living room floor right now. Entire family, both of my siblings and my parents, and we had some neighbors over that both had a couple of kids that went to my school as well. So we all watched this together on one of those TV sets that sat on the living room floor, like inside the box, cable box on top. We called our cable company, just like Mean Gene told us to, and ordered it. It was a family affair. Jesse is fired up. Get my volumes right. Oh, yeah. Robert Goulet. He was one of the better ones. Yeah, 67K. Huge crowd for that time, man. I'm trying to think who were the other celebs they had here. The lady that interviewed Elizabeth, I never even heard of her at the time. I still don't know who she is. I'm trying to remember who else. I'll be sharing plenty of memories with you, like things that were going on in my head through some of these matches. And WrestleManias back in these days still did have a lot of fillers. So we're going to see a lot of just like mid-card matches. Some of them just, these two guys are wrestling. They did that a lot back then to really load the card with a lot of matches. I'm guessing we probably have 11 or 12 or something on the show. They stacked them back then. We're going to be missing one, though. Missing Roddy and Bad News, which is fine. That match was pointless. Skydom's getting old, man. Anybody living in Toronto in the chat here? How's the building? Any plans of making a new one? If not, I think there's time for WrestleMania to get back there for one more. Joe Watts and I had just moved away from Detroit just a couple years before that. Otherwise, we could have watched it together. Could have called me. Oh, Mary Tyler Moore. That's right. Thanks. Forgot about her. What the hell did she do? She was in the front row. I don't remember her doing anything else. They had no like special ring announcer or anything like that for Hogan and Warrior, which is I think helped make that match more special. The fact that it was just Howard and it was just, just them. They didn't need any extra bullshit for it. Coco, beware. Look at the Fink. That's peak Fink right there. Pink Fink. They brought back the moving carts. We hadn't seen that since WrestleMania 3. That's what, to me, when I saw that, because I didn't know they were doing that. They did WrestleMania like showdown and pre-shows over the weekend and stuff, but they weren't like this. You had no idea it was going to be this elaborate. So when I saw this, I was like, holy shit, it's like WrestleMania 3 again. I mean, they had the big screens up on the, hanging from the ceiling. Definitely had a big feel. Coco. It's hard for people who have a more like energetic entrance. It's a good thing the Warrior didn't come down on one of those carts. It would have looked ridiculous. But, like Coco, he's used to bouncing around. He's kind of stuck in there. It didn't fit everybody, coming in the cart. But at least you have to blow yourself up walking down the aisle, right? Yeah, Rona Barrett. That's who I don't remember. Even at the time, I didn't know who she is, and I still don't know who she is to this day. I'd never heard of her. I was like, who the fuck is Rona Barrett? Arrogance. Jesus. Rick Martel, man. I was hoping to get an announcement for him this year into the Hall of Fame. Not quite yet. Yeah, Kareem, I agree. It's Howard's voice put a stamp of legitimacy on it, when it comes to those main events. I preferred that. I never liked the guest ring announcers because, I think of like when Brett won the title at WrestleMania 10, like Burt Reynolds announcing him as the winner. That sucked. I wanted Howard to do the and new, not Burt Reynolds. Same thing, Bob Uecker and shit like that. Like, I'd rather have Howard, to be honest. Howard's better. Howard's the best. What's going on, Charlie? By the way, those of you who are here right now, if you want to thumbs up my button there, feel good. Appreciate it. Five years old, huh? Not quite a WWF fan yet. Boy, I was a little bit obsessive around this age. I love Rick Martel. This gimmick was so weird. He did it well though. Yeah, I can tolerate a Great Khali Hall of Fame. It's fine with me, really. But yeah, Martel absolutely should be on. Oof. I'm upset with myself for not remembering who that referee's name is, or what the referee's name is. Man, Coco had a run. I mean, he was the very same level of star every year he was there. Oh, there we go. I see what Barry's talking about. All right, so that is probably where this 35 seconds comes in. I just faded to black there. I'm sure some folks might see an ad there. That's what Barry was talking about. Yeah, Mike, Jesse went in, I believe in 04. He went into that big cluster of guys. It was like Jesse, and it was like Harley and Bobby and Slaughter, Valentine, John Studd, I think Billy Graham. I mean, it was a ridiculous amount of names. And there goes Coco, eliminated from the Royal Rumble. Yep, Edge was here at the show. He was sitting on the floor, I think, on the side where the entrance is, way back. I can see him. You know what I just watched before we came live on here? The Beth Phoenix Icons doc. Watch that. Like, watch it for real. It's really good. The first, it was the second episode. The first one they did was on Yoko. And this one was really good. A couple stories in there I wasn't even aware of. Most of which I knew, but it was still super good watch. Worth every hour of length that it was. God, what a sight. Wish I would have been there. Because, I mean, you got to remember there was only 3 titles in the company at the time, and 2 of them were in the main event. So you only had the tag, which I believe might even be up next. I think that was pretty early. And then everything else was just, a lot of these type of matches, and then a couple of more personal issues, like Jake and Dibiase is really good. Started a new feud with Boss Man that same night. The Hart Foundation stuff was funny. Oh, you know who else is here? Steve Allen. That's right. Steve Allen does the deal with the Bolsheviks in the bathroom. So Martel is about a year into his heel run here. Turned heel a year before in the tag match against the Busters with Tito. And then just a few weeks after that, they right after WrestleMania 5, I know they worked the loop. And then right after that on TV, the next set of tapings, I think he was out as the model. I think it was like pretty much that fast. So he's about a year into the model gimmick. Maybe 9 months. He had the hair, his bushy hair like that. He didn't have that the previous year. Anybody ever been to Cocoa Beach, Florida? How is it? I think I've driven through it once. What's up, Angie? Glad you made it. These are fun. I've enjoyed the ones we've done this year. We've done a few with the Rumbles and Manias. We're going to keep doing them. So like I said, they're fun and they're easy. I did too. I would have liked to see Roman just go down to NXT, pay Beth a visit, intimidate her at the announce booth a little bit. Maybe even prompting Wade Barrett to stand up and try to, defend her a little bit. Yeah, man. WrestleMania 6, they really did shit on the Bolsheviks on this. They got humiliated in the men's room with Steve Allen, and then the Hearts beat him in like 5 seconds. Hysterical. What a good sport that Nikolai is. All right, Coco's trying to mount this comeback here. It ain't going to last long. The hell? I'm not sure if Coco would have ever been someone they would have considered for the IC title, but I definitely would have thought it would have been worth a try. He was over. He was a cartoon character. He was just like what WWE wanted. Plus, he was a pretty good wrestler. Boston Crab. And that's it. Coco taps. I mean, to me, that felt like, you know, like a WWF primetime match or something you'd see. You know, a lot of the matches like that on the show are like that. I meant to look it up on Wikipedia. Anybody got any word on the dark match for this? Remember, I read it at one time. I just don't remember. Oh, here we go. Another fade to black. Colossal connection. Yeah, the Brainbuster was gnarly, man. Coco had a really good finisher. I agree totally, Kevin. Colostomy connection. Mean Gene. Such a troll. Look how good Bobby looks. Going to eliminate them. Okay. What a promo. Probably one of Andre's best. Gene is always the funniest. Oh, I miss the old locker room backdrop they had. Those were the days, man. Talk about a pro wrestling voice. Bill Eadie had it. That sounds pretty good. So the murder. Demolition was so awesome. Darso was charismatic as hell, man. That's cool. Like, Smash mentioned the new title belts because after they would win here, they would redo the belts to more of a gold look. They were kind of silver here. And by the time the Hearts won them at SummerSlam, they were nice and gold. That's cool. Apparently, they used the metal from what was left of the murder of the Colossal Connection. Interesting. Little known fact. Man. God, last time Andre was on one of them carts, he was being trash was being heaved at him. It is cool to see Haku with that tag team title. It's the only title he ever held in WWE. I thought the Islanders were good enough to be tag champs. So the fact that he got that, I was happy for him. This is bittersweet for me, too, because this is like my last good memory of Demolition. For some reason, like, look how over they are here. Fans are going nuts. Later on, it's one of the best-looking pops in wrestling history when they're celebrating. And as soon as this is over, they turn him heel. I guess it was because Bill Eadie was leaving, but I didn't feel like they were. I just felt like there was over like Rover here. Why would they even turn him heel? But kind of a shame. They had that badass Rick Derringer theme song. I watched the match on TV. It was like super. I think it was Challenge. Forgot what it was. I think it was Challenge when Colossal Connection beat Demolition. Right after Demolition won the belts back from Tully and Arn. I remember being so bummed out. I was like, what the fuck? Oh, Kareem, I do the same thing when I get dressed up too. Same exact thing. We have similar habits. Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Oh, Kareem.
Oh, we're fine. I did have a mic problem on Friday, but that was because I hit the button by mistake with my hand. But no, I think we're good. I mean, Andre barely got. I mean, that was like really one of the only bits of offense Andre had. I mean, he stayed out there the whole time. I think that's Freddie Sparta as the referee. In case you're following along, Axe has Haku in a chin lock right now. Axe is tagged in. I know at some point in the night they get the wave going at the Sky Dome. That's pretty cool. Yeah, Haku, man. Poor Haku had to wrestle a fucking handicap match, man. Look at that kick by Andre. See that he's just so sad to watch him try to move. I don't think he got in the ring for WWE again after this. I know he worked a match in Japan. I think he worked a match in Mexico, all the way up until like 92 or something. Like, but I don't think he worked again unless it was on a tour for WWF. Haku's a cheater. Demolition was so good. What's up, Ryan? Yeah, Demolition is long overdue from being in the Hall of Fame, but I think a lot of that lawsuit stuff had something to do with it, and a lot of politics in play with the Hall of Fame, you know? Yeah, Bill Eadie got sick right around this time. I don't know if it was the shellfish or not, but I know he was he had a lot of problems and he had to be phased out type of thing. I just hated that they turned heel because they really just became shells of themselves, especially after they lost the titles, and then they attempted to do the masks, and 1 year later they'd be wrestling a random weird ass match at WrestleMania 7 and getting beat, and that was it. Haku had the match won there. I love Jesse. Made Jesse a good commentator, a good heel commentator, is that he was right a lot of times. He wasn't always right. Sometimes he'd bullshit, but you know, he always have a. He believed it, you know. He was good enough to where he could actually make the heels come off as baby faces. Just because he put up such a good argument for him. Yeah, I mean, Axe is, this is where you should, if you're a tag team, this is where you should be tagging and fast tagging on the compromised opponent there, but Haku just keeps doing it all. What's up, Chris? Thanks for the 5. I was too young when this Mania happened, but Solemn Monster said Demolition didn't even do an official turn. They just came out as heels randomly. They did. I remember when it happened. It was an interview. The first time I remember it was just when it was like a podium interview with Mean Gene or something, when they would do the platform interview, like off from the crowd or off from the ring. And Smash is shitting on the audience. And I'm like, huh? Yeah, and that was it. He's right. There was not an in-ring turn at all. They won the belts here, got a huge pop. I was a big fan, and then all of a sudden on TV, they were just dicks. Literally overnight. He's right. That's exactly how it went down. It was weird. They would just do that sometimes. That's why I thought they could have figured out a better way to set course the demise of Demolition. I mean, it was a legendary tag team that just fizzled with a lot of questionable decisions. To think that Smash, after this would be Repo Man and shit, it's frustrating to even think about. Crusher, your Demolition's your favorite tag team? Yeah, they're my top 3. I think I got Bulldogs and Hearts just a hair past them, but not by much. I love Demolition. And they're doing it. I loved Gorilla and Jesse getting together because they didn't do commentary regularly on TV. Gorilla was usually with Bobby and Jesse was usually with Vince. And they would get together for the pay-per-views, and that was pretty rare in these days. You only had a few of them. So when they would get together, it was usually pretty awesome. And this would be it. No more Jesse after this. No shit, it was about time for him to tag in the big man 10 minutes ago. In Jesse's professional opinion. Well, in my professional opinion, you're 10 minutes too late, Jesse. Here we go, and this is a chance. Smash salivating for the hot tag. Come on. Oh, Smash is in there. Andre just stands there the whole time. I mean, we're going to see, this is going to be AJ and Omos on at WrestleMania. We'll see. Oh, man. Haku took that backdrop. Thanks, Chaz. Appreciate the $2. Glad you're here, man. This will be a fun one. WrestleMania 6 is awesome. There's Andre finally eats a right hand by Smash. They've got Haku cornered now. Big clothesline to Haku. Double clothesline to Andre. Down he goes into the corner. I was marking out. I was marking out right now watching this. Because I hated I hated Colossal Connection being champs. I could feel it. I felt Demolition was going to win them back. Ooh! And Andre does the spot. Big thrust kick right to Andre's face. He's in the ropes. He's stuck. Top rope clothesline to Haku. And they're going for their finisher. Bobby's trying. This is it. Oh, that's it. Love this visual. Look at that crowd. Look at that shit. Oh, I was so happy. So awesome. That's one of my favorite WrestleMania matches ever. Just the sight of that, of them celebrating and that crowd shot and everything was awesome. And at that time, you know, they three-peated, and at that time, I'm trying to think if we had a team that held them 3. Unless the Samoans did. I don't think so. Gurria and Tito might. I think they were 2. I don't think we've had a 3 at this time. So that was, you know, something that I think should have set them apart and could have extended their run a bit had WWE wanted to. Like, by the following year, Road Warriors would be in the company. So you should have just kept them rolling and had them put over Road Warriors and pass the torch at WrestleMania 7. Boy, they fucked that up, man. Just like Flair and Hogan, same thing. Oh, here's Bobby chewing out Andre. Getting in Andre's face. I know he bitch slaps him at one point. Look at the way Bobby's giving it to him. That was awesome. I remember as a fan, this made me happy because I have, you know, as a kid, I grew up as Andre the Giant as a babyface. So the fact that this was kind of happening again made me happy. Full circle moment for little Greg. I was more accustomed to Andre being a good guy, and this was a nice way for me, anyway, to see him sent off. I loved when he'd punch people. He'd go, you know, ugh. I think Haku tries to hit him or something. Nice block by Andre. Damn, he was just chopping down. Now he's getting in there. Now Andre's starting to fight. Oh, big headbutt. Now I remember, this is funny. I remember when I was watching this right here, as Andre's getting out of the ring and Haku, it looked like they were all leaving together. And I was like, wait a minute, are they going to all fight and then get into the cart together? That's what I thought when I was watching it. But then Andre grabs Bobby and gets him out of there. But it looked like they're all just going to leave together. Would have been funny, actually. Andre's trying to get Haku out of there. There we go. Headbutt. This is another good one of my favorite visuals. Just Andre riding away. Literally, to me, it felt like he was riding off into the sunset with a babyface reaction. Even though we would see him again. It's kind of last in-ring memory, really. The last tangible one, anyway. Yeah, Axe being lost was going to be a big deal, but I don't know. I would have tried to keep it going with Crush a little bit. Might have worked. Crush was big. He didn't have the promo ability that Axe did. Axe was so good, but it might have been worth a try. I mean, they added Freebirds and shit here and there when you had to. And Horsemen. Quake-O-meter. Jimmy's jackets were always a trip. You want to hear something real scary? I'm a few years older than Earthquake is in this picture right here. He looks like he's 50 years old. He had just come in at this point. They brought him in brilliantly. Brought him in out of the crowd. It turned out he was a hired gun. He's a sexy guy, though, isn't he? He's always bouncing in his promos. He'd make a great WWE cameraman. Mike, as far as I know, I've heard Axe tell the story a bunch of times. I just can't remember. He just had some health issues that was going to prevent him from really wrestling anymore. So he was going to kind of be phased slowly out of Demolition. But I still don't think you had to turn him heel and completely disintegrate the team. You could have at least tried to run with it for a little while, especially since Axe hung out. Axe was still there till the end of the year. It's not like he left immediately. So you could have phased Crush in and maybe given it a shot. as a baby face and then have them do a situation where they turn heel. And coinciding that with the Road Warriors coming in would have been perfect, but they blew it. Why does WWE blow everything? This was a layup. They fucked it up. I forgot Hercules used some music for a short time there. A bunch of Manias in a row for him. He worked Mania 2 against Steamboat. He worked 3 against Billy Jack. He worked Warrior at 4. And I don't know what he did at WrestleMania 5. Haku. So yeah, this is 5 in a row for him. And he worked the next year too in a tag team match. So I think he worked 6 straight Manias for Herc. Maybe 8 if was he in 8? I don't think he was in 8, but shit, he might have been. I think he was gone by then. He'd be just about to start his feud with Hogan right after this. Because they did a deal on TV where he was getting, because Bravo at the time was feuding with Warrior, so he kind of got involved in that whole mess. And I think he had hit Hogan with the Earthquake bomb just a couple of weeks ago or the week before on TV. So when Hogan loses, I think Earthquake takes credit for that. That leads to the Attack on Brother Love show, and then they work SummerSlam and keep Earthquake protected. They don't even beat him. Very rare. "28 men have been sent to the hospital." It's always weird with Herc, you know, since he was a babyface, he kind of started wearing like the baby blue trunks. He looked better in black. He was so strong, Herc. God. That's Jimmy Corderas. Look at all that hair on Jimmy, the referee. It's a whole lot of hair. I loved Herc's punches, and I love the way he sold like turnbuckle bumps and stuff. He had a different agility to him. I think he legit caught Herc with a legit one there. I'm sorry, Earthquake. Jimmy Hart goes, "Look what he did to your nose." I think he potatoed him right in the face. And both of these guys are no longer with us either, which is sad. No, Warrior. He worked Warrior on 4. That whole show was a tournament, and they just had a grudge match in between there. And then Herc curtain jerked Mania 5 with King Tonga, as they announced him on the pay-per-view. Yeah, Herc died years back. Can't remember how. He was a big star too in the South. Well-known name prior to WWF. Look at that long hair and shit. Great stuff. Hey, I'd be open to having an object wing in the Hall of Fame. I don't know if the object wing would combine with the animal wing, if you could put Matilda and Frankie and shit like that, or if those are different things. But yeah, Jimmy Hart's megaphone, Cornette's tennis racket, shit like that. Sure. Who would win in a match between Cornette's tennis racket and Jimmy Hart's megaphone? Hell in the Cell match. Yeah, Andre didn't like Stud, which is weird. Andre didn't like a lot of guys, but, you know, he didn't like Stud. Like, Andre has no reason to have any, like, insecurity issues. He's fucking Andre the Giant. He wants to be the only giant or whatever. You're the biggest one. Nobody's going to come around bigger than you or tougher than you. So why he was so threatened all the time, I don't know. That's shit we would hear from Hogan and Shawn throughout the years. Andre had no equal, so I don't know why he was always so concerned. Gorilla said Earthquake doing the pose reminded him of Jesse Ventura. What a troll. Come on, Herc, you can body slam this dude. You know, I didn't notice this before, but I like that Herc's got the double H on his boots for the Hercules Hernandez. I can only assume that's why he's got H's all over the place. Because they dropped the Hernandez after he got there. Oof. Jesus. God. Big 2 back elbows to the back of Herc's neck. Man, they have got those rings mic'd. They sound great. That elbow was thunderous. Yeah, I know, Kelvin. We've got, I'd say a solid 60% of the show is deceased. Probably more. Oof. Yeah, he would run like this. I mean, he'd feud with Hogan. He'd run like this throughout probably WrestleMania 7. And then on the other side of that, they teamed him with Typhoon, I think. The Aftershock. Jesus. Jesse, I love him in educating us on earthquake science. Science with Jesse. Generally, there's an aftershock. Yeah, I live in California. I know that. There's Mel Phillips right there. What I like too about this WrestleMania that was a little bit different than others, and Mania 3 was like this too. The ring was raised way off the front row there. Kind of had to be for a crowd that size. Hercules feels all the mass. Earthquake in his 20s? I don't know. 30s definitely. He might have been that young. Earthquake and Boss Man both were like so young, way younger than you'd expect him to be. I know Boss Man was in his 20s when he was feuding with Hogan. Look at her. Gets up. 2 earthquakes. He gets up. Now here's Rona Barrett and Miss Elizabeth. This is so weird. Damn, she's like, you're hot, girl. That's funny. As a fan, I didn't really know where she went. There's nothing for her to do, though, once Savage went with Sherry. She never got physically involved ever. That's funny. They foreshadowed this because she finally would get physically involved in the mixed tag later, but I miss Elizabeth. No pun intended. 27. Unreal, AJ Daniels. That's ridiculous. I thought he was actually a little bit older than that. So that puts me about 16 years older than he was. Jesus Christ. Oh, this is great. Beefcake promo with Mooney. Look at Beefcake's hair. Those shears. This guy brings a weapon to the ring. Hey, comedic host or comedic genius YouTube. Thanks, man. Or YT. Thanks for the $2, man. Appreciate you being here. And hello to you. Glad you're here. Jesus, man. 26 is so young. He looked way older than that. Oh my God, is Bruce driving the cart? Somebody get a better look at that. He can't be cart driving, boy, can he? Surely they got a tech guy doing that, or a production guy. I swear that looked like Bruce. No, it wouldn't have been Bruce, because he would have been... They probably wouldn't have had him out there doing Brother Love and shit. I don't know, unless he got to work that day and Vince is like, guess what? You're cart, bitch. That would be hilarious. Sean Mooney, he's still around. He did a appearance for WWE not long ago for either the Raw show or maybe something else. Had a podcast for a while. I think he has since shut that down, but as far as I know, he's doing just fine. Just never really came back to wrestling. A lot like Pettengill. Same thing. Man, this is kind of sad, too, because when this happened, you know, Beefcake goes over here, and this is a big deal. Beefcake was still super over at this time. And it was just a couple of months. It was July 4th. 3 months later, accident, boom, right to the face, and that would be it for the Beefer. He would never be the same. He'd be out for 3 years, come back for a quick minute with Hogan, resurface in WCW with 14 different gimmicks, none of which living up to the legend that was Booty Man. But this was it for him, too. Much like Demolition earlier, this is like one of their last big moments. This is it for Beefer. He puts an end to this undefeated streak of Mr. Perfect that they've been pushing. He seemed like he was always a contender for the Intercontinental title. And that was it, and he was over. I liked him. I was in the building when he turned babyface. But downhill, man. Joey Morella, referee for this thing, too. You take off a limb. See, Jesse, he makes compelling arguments. For a heel commentator, he's right. Like, he's like, somebody get the knife away from Beefcake. And really, honestly, Jesse's 100% right. Beefcake, someone that crazy should not be allowed a knife. Or scissors, or whatever the fuck. Jesse did. Terry, Tyrell, and Jade. Every WrestleMania, he'd shout them out. And I never knew as a kid who they were. I mean, I assumed they were his family, but I never knew. I never knew that until later. I'm like, oh, so that's who they were. I thought they might have just been his friends. I mean, I was never a big Beefcake fan, but I never denied how over he was. And he was one of my favorites at the time, but Kurt was so much better. Genius, my God. Yeah, putting his head down. That's true. Look how agile Kurt was. Very Dolph Ziggler-like. Except better. Yes, as far as we know, the Piper Bad News stuff has been edited out of both versions, Network and Peacock. However, we still have a 30-second discrepancy, which we'll have to deal with, but that's reality now with Peacock, which kind of sucks. I don't remember when I discovered Joey Morella was Gorilla Monsoon's son, but I definitely knew it by the time he died. I might not have known it. I might have known it here. because Joey Marella had a lot of buzz after the WrestleMania 3 because he did this fast count there, the close count on Andre, and they used that as Andre's kind of way out of not really losing and shit. And Jesse gave Marella a ton of shit. And I think that was part of the rib. You know, Jesse would just rib Marella in front of Gorilla all the time. And I read it in a magazine, I think somewhere. But I knew it by the time he died. So that would have been 94. So somewhere between 90 and 94 is when I learned it. I just don't remember. And when I learnt it. People watching in the crowd is quite awesome, too. You see a little kid in the crowd, I'm like, damn, that kid's 35 years old now, or older, maybe, depending on how old the kid is. Oof. And the funny thing is, even here, like, yeah, they would do the tournament, and Perfect would win that after Warrior would relinquish the IC title. But I still think Perfect was losing to Hogan on house shows and shit. Oh, there's Mary Tyler Moore. Because he was feuding with Hogan. Remember the deal on SNL, Saturday Night's Main Event, where he destroyed the Winged Eagle belt and stuff? So I think that they were wrestling house shows and Perfect was getting beat, but I guess maybe on TV he had never been beat. Oh, he dropped that scroll. I mean, that's quite the weapon. Steel plate to the face. Ooh. He hit him pretty good. Fucking Lanny Poffo, man. See, Jesse applying logic to all of his arguments? He's not an idiot. He's a genius. I love that neck snap by Perfect. If that was nowadays, he'd have a special name for that. Natural selection or some shit. Instead of just fucking neck snap like it should be called. Why does every wrestler have to have 6 signature moves? You just need one. You can have moves. You just can't have names for moves. That's what I should say. You can have as many moves as you want. Just don't name each one of them. That's obnoxious. Yeah, see? Jesse's right again. Jesse's smart. Yeah, because Gorilla would say that. The pendulum is swung 360. Well, then it would be back to where it was with the same guy in control. Jesse is just always giving shit to Gorilla. Their chemistry is hysterical. They're just as fun to me as Bobby and Gorilla were. Even though Bobby and Gorilla are a little more legendary. When they got together, they were magic. Yes, Chris Maycock. I am on the West Coast. I wish I was operating on East Coast time. It's much easier for me based on the type of hours I keep and stuff. Big knee lift. That was a good looking one, too. Yeah, who are you calling old man? Larry Hennig? You crazy? Yeah, Jesse and Axe were in AWA for a short bit together. Both all Minnesota guys, so. Oh yeah, Jesse hated Vince. He purposely gave shit to Vince. He would lovingly give shit to Gorilla. At one of these WrestleManias, it might be this one, Jesse gives Gorilla all sorts of shit for eating hot dogs. He's like, you've had like 7 hot dogs. I can't remember when that is. It might be this one. Or maybe the year before. Please don't hurt me, Mr. Perfect. Jesse narrating is also fun. What kind of sick bastard would leave out his voice out of DVDs? Man. Oh, here we go. Biggs. Look at that cell. He just ties his leg up in the ropes. Not completely out. Beefcake won. How many matches have been won with a slingshot? I mean, maybe they wanted to get a loss on TV under Perfect's belt before they put the strap on him, but I think he could have just remained undefeated here. Perfect plexed that weirdo right into oblivion and won the match. Been the way out, have booked it. I was pretty lucky, to be honest. I mean, Kurt was in control. He's a much better wrestler. Oh, I would have been so pissed here. I remember wondering if they were going to cut his hair. Not afraid to say that I didn't hate Brutus's theme music. Feel free to unfollow, but I like it. Kind of dig it. I may or may not dance around to it when y'all aren't watching. Look at Poffo trying to get away with this shit. Little sneaky fuck. Beefer caught him. The motherfucker wears a cap and gown to the ring. Yeah, Beefcake had already given him a haircut. This is a common thing he did. He did the same shit to Jimmy Hart. He cut people's hair at WrestleMania 3. He cut Adonis's hair. WrestleMania 4, he cut Jimmy's hair. At 5, I don't think he cut anybody's hair because he worked Dibiase and he beat up Virgil. I mean, unless he did a number to his downstairs fro, I don't think he really did anything to Virgil. And then here, he would get his hands on Poffo. It was a WrestleMania theme. Look at Poffo kicking. A fucking sleeper. Look at him just flailing. Man, here's another fact I hate to admit. I hate to say. Beefcake had a better sleeper than Piper. Piper used a sleeper, but he sucked at it. Never cinched up. Beefcake's was slightly better. Yeah, Brian, you're right. Unless Brutus wants to put an eye out. It's probably not recommended. I love that he's got the hedge clippers. Fucking Edward Scissorhands here. And now he's got the little guys. I mean, cutting wet hair is impossible. It's got to be so hard. Or sweaty hair, I should say. I mean, Poffo's clearly awake. He's fucking talking. Just stay down. You're supposed to pretend to be asleep. Okay, so right there is where the Bad News Brown Piper match was right after this. They're skipping all that now. And now we're at Steve Allen in the bathroom. So if you are watching on the network or watching in the UK or somewhere else, we currently have Allen in the bathroom with the Bolsheviks about to enter. So this might be where discrepancies start happening in the time codes, or in the runtime. Oh, I had to sing that in a play once. I get no kick from champagne. Ah, Steve Allen. Why are they in the bathroom? Boris Zukov promos. Not the best. The poor Bolsheviks just got shit on all night here. I guess that's why they got buried so heavily here, is because this will be the end of them. Right after this, Nikolai go babyface. I love Nikolai Volkov. He's so awesome. I mean, even by this point, 1990, he had been around so long. I mean, he was working early 70s in WWF, like super, or maybe even 60s. Man, he had been around for a while. Yeah, better acoustics in the bathroom. That's true. Look at Brett. Now, the Hearts are starting to make some waves here now. They put back together, back to being a strong force, and they challenged the winners of Demolition and Colossal Connection. So they were setting the stage for SummerSlam. The Toronto Screwjob is what you could call this, because they didn't even give the Bolsheviks a chance to get ready. Okay, that's not Bruce driving the cart. I thought it was. That would have made my fucking day. How can you see when you're driving that thing anyway? Of course they are. Nikolai had a great voice. Gorilla always commented on the size of Boris Zhukov's head. It's like one of his favorite subjects. Oh, those Hitman shades. I love that. That kid won't see nothing for a week. Yeah, Jesse, who are you talking, man? All the Peacock censoring has now made WCW win the war. Yeah, because those Attitude Era shows suddenly aren't going to be as good with all the editing that's going to take place. I knew the words to this as a kid. I heard it so often. He had two versions of it, a short one and a long one. I knew the short one. It's a good voice. Just as good as Coco Beware's voice. Why didn't Nikolai Volkov get a song on the Pile Driver album? Girls in Moscow. Girls in Moscow. Finally, Anvil. It's so funny watching Brett in the background calming him down. Anvil's literally losing his shit. I love this. Out goes Nikolai. Bell literally rings right here, so. And that's it. Heart attack right here. Boom. Beautiful by Brett. Takes him right over to. Loved that. I was like, they're going to win the belts. I was already full Art Foundation Bret Hart mode by this point. So as much as I love Demolition, I was already on the Hart Foundation wagon. Loved them. They had a different feel this time around. When they first turned babyface in 88, and then they went singles in 89, when they put them back together here, it just felt right. It complete me as a fan. And I was ready. I'd have a year and a half to wait, and Bret would be winning or a little bit over a year to wait. And Bret would be getting some singles gold, but you could tell. Even here, you could tell. He's too good. Fucking Bolsheviks. Joboveks, whatever you want to call them. Yeah. They got all these weird fades. This is crazy. So now they're plugging WrestleMania 7, supposed to be at the LA Coliseum, 100,000 people. That did not happen. You'd think they would edit this out. It's like, oh, I want to watch the WrestleMania from 91 when they were at the Coliseum, and then they were in this little ass. Jesse's excited, but he ain't going to be there. Would have been cool if it was there. I would have done Hogan Savage or Hogan Warrior again. Pretty ballsy to book a building that big, knowing the only way you're going to fill it is to have a main event worthy of the one you're going to see here, the one you saw at Mania 3? What would you even have in your company that could even achieve that other than a rematch of Mania 6? Unless you got Flair up or something. I mean, other than that, I don't know what you do. Oh, yeah, the Powers of Pain had been split off and sold off. Bobby's got Barbarian, and I think Slick has Warlord. I don't think my buddy Daniel is here, but if you are, speak up in the chat. I'm pretty sure you told me that you reffed a Barbarian match not long ago. Barbarian's still active. Or at least he was. Spent a lot of money. Audio problems. I love that backdrop. Here's a man that jobbed WrestleMania after WrestleMania. He lost in 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7, and 8. I know he'd lose 6 in a row. And I don't remember. At 2, he worked with JYD against the Funks, but I don't recall who won that. So he might have lost someone. I know he opened Mania 1 with a victory. Love Tito. I mean, he won some gold, but he won it all before, like, shit really got hot. He's either a 2 or 3-time winner of tags. I think a 2 with Martel and Gurria, and then a couple of ICs. That by this point, you're just solid utility guy. Go out there, have a good match, put people over. It's what he did. Jesse is just... I thought you wanted to know what I picked up. Let's see. There was Juanita. Oh, my God, Jesse. He's hilarious. Oh, yeah. I think you're right. You just made me remember that, Kelvin. Barbarian's finisher during this time, I think, was like a top rope clothesline type deal, and I'm pretty sure he takes Tito's head off with that in this match. You got Jimmy Corderas as the referee again. Chico. Oh. Jesus. I love that Jesse's like shitting on Mexican food, which is fucking delicious. I live here in San Diego. I'm right on the border. We don't disparage Mexican food in this household, Jesse Ventura. Oh, that's interesting. Bruce said if WWF didn't go with Brett after Hogan, Tito could have been the guy for the short term. I agree totally. Certainly put his time in. Certainly capable. Certainly been on every big stage imaginable. Multiple promotions, multiple championships. Barbarian was so agile, too. I liked him so much better than the Warlord. He had been wrestling since the early 80s, I want to say. He was a head shrinker for a brief bit there. They'd bring him back in around 94 or 5-ish or something with the to take Samu's place. I know I think he'd go in and work some nitros after that as well. He was always turning up. I didn't like I think he should have stayed. You know, they changed up the look of both Warlord and Barbarian after this, and they were both terrible. Warlord had that Phantom of the Opera thing going on, and then Barbarian had the big furry boots and shit. Like, what the hell, man? Should have just kept Barbarian look like this. He looked badass. That's all you needed. A burrito is delicious. Shut up, Jesse. Ooh, big boot to the face of Chico. Man. I like how Gorilla thinks shit takes starch out of you. It's so funny. I didn't even know I had starch in me. Ooh, shoulder breaker. Jeez. You don't see too many shoulder breakers anymore. I guess you do. Ooh, oh, I like how he walked the rope. I swear I see a time-traveling dude with a MAGA hat in the front row, or like maybe 3 rows back. See him? He's from the future. Bobby yelling. They would throw Tito a bone every now and then. Big flying forearm. Bobby. See, Tito would have beat him. We got a strike force against a power of pain right here. You can only seek half the amount of forces, or whatever Cornette said. Oh, God. Oh, I think he was trying to go for a clothesline spot. I guess he got it. Oh, this is probably the finish. Oh, oh, Tito sold that. Nice. I love the extra kick at the end. Ooh, that was a good shot. That's why Tito's the best. Man, he ate that. Jesus. Yeah, show that finish again. My God. Damn, Tito always threw that forearm pretty well, too. Look at this. Oh. Very similar year before. Rockers versus, what are they called? Twin Towers. Akeem almost destroyed Shawn. Same way. Watch that one. All right, we got the mixed tag coming up because they're showing a recap of what went down with Dusty and Savage and Sapphire and Sherry. Brother Love is in there. And here comes Captain Polka Dot. God, the energy in this crowd. I remember watching this that night. I reviewed this pay-per-view. Or did I do a watch-along of it last year? I forgot. It's on my channel, Rumble 1990. I think it was a review. This is when we first saw the women mixing it up. Grab each other's hair. Sherry and Sapphire. I mean, Sherry's nobody to mess with. I mean, that's a former women's champion. And Sapphire didn't have much other than that Beal. Ha! Rhodes throws Sherry back in. Look at Earl. Oh, Dusty. Look at her sparkly gold jacket. Sweet Sapphire. That's right. Sapphire's right. Can't argue with that. I remember as a kid, I was like, are they boyfriend, girlfriend? Like, I didn't know. The Crown Jewel. I remember I tweeted out a video of Miss Elizabeth's entrance during the Crown Jewel pay-per-view. I'm like, this is the only Crown Jewel that matters to me. Sapphire was the best. And so was Sherry, for that matter. Something I noticed about this one. Notice how ridiculously slow their cart moves to the others compared to the others. It's raised up, I think, and it's super slow. I mean, it's Undertaker walking to the ring slow. Like, look at it. Finally, it comes into frame there. I'm like, where the hell is it? I mean, Savage has got to be doing this a whole lot the whole time. The Scepter. He'd be this Macho King shit for another year, man. That would be funny if that thing just collapsed or something. Yeah, AJ, you're right. On WWE, I don't think saw Dusty as that. Not with when you had Hogan and Warrior and guys like that there. But Dusty, that's the thing. Like somebody said it earlier on, they hit the nail on the head. Fans just ate shit up back then. Like, even though Dusty wasn't involved in title pictures and stuff, you just saw the recap of what they were doing there. Everything they did was over. You know, fans reacted. I mean, he's feuding with Macho Man. That's no small place on the card. So I don't think he was really ever going to be brought in. Even if they took him a little more seriously and didn't put the polka dots on him, I still don't think he's winning the title in WWF at this time. So it's a good thing the internet wasn't around, because you can imagine what people would be saying. But back in the day, you know, even though Dusty wasn't in the top angles, he was still in big angles, and it was over. And the crowd reacts their balls off to this match here. We didn't care about as much about that stuff back then as we do now. Sherry, she's so awesome. I mean, damn, I bet the fans had this song stuck in their head after they left here, because you play this 25-minute long entrance for Savage. They're going to play it again when Elizabeth comes out. I mean, maybe some of you are a little younger now, but man, I'm not gonna lie. When I graduated like high school and stuff, and we did the walk and stuff, I kind of got like tingles. I was thinking I was the Macho Man. I'm like, holy shit, I'm the Macho Man. I should cut a promo and flip off my principal. Say, you're not the principal. I'm the principal. Give me my diploma. All right, now Dusty's finally coming out. Somebody match up Savage and Sherry's entrance to like the longest taker one of all time and see if it's got a beat. Sapphire just getting it on in the cart. I can't remember what the story of them, how they got her there. They put her at ringside, but I don't know where they found her. I think she was either a bus driver or she worked for them. Juanita Wright. But I don't recall the exact story of how they came across her. Like, people like her, people like Jameson. It's always interesting to hear about like where they came from and stuff, because they were pretty big presence on TV at that time. I remember my friends who weren't wrestling fans loved Jameson. They thought he was fucking hilarious. It was all about Jameson to the casual fan. Yeah, back in these days when you're a young man and you're a young kid and you're growing up and you're starting to have feelings, you know, and shit, like it was weird what, you know, about Sherry and Elizabeth, I knew I was attracted to both of them, but for completely different reasons, and I didn't really know why. To be a confused adolescent kid again. The crown jewel. So they brought in Elizabeth. But they wouldn't bring her in again. She'd be here for this, and that's it. She wouldn't turn back up until the next WrestleMania in the Savage and Warrior match. So I remember as a fan being like, sweet, she's back. What does this mean? She's going to be with Dusty now? And then I don't think we saw her. This is a one-off. I don't think we saw her again. Because she was married to Randy. So what could you really have her do other than stick her with a babyface? And putting her with a babyface that already has a female valet or a sidekick with him. It was a weird pairing, but made for a good moment against Savage. And Sherry and Elizabeth always had this weird rivalry. And you always worried, as a fan, you worried for Elizabeth because she was very reserved. And Sherry was batshit nuts. And you worry that Sherry would stab her. Look at that 90s hair, man. Wow. My mom had hair just like that around this time. It was crazy. Yeah, a lot of people say it was a rib on Dusty the Polka Dots. I don't know. Odd choice. She always was a camera hound. God, Jesse. Jesus, Jesse. I think this whole match is just going to be Jesse body shaming Sapphire. See? She bulked up for this match. I mean, plus you got to think about, too, Dusty and Savage is a dream match. I mean, at the time, I remember when they got put together, there was a lot of silly shit because the women were involved and stuff. But in terms of, like, even at this time, up until 1990, these are the two of the greatest to ever do it. These are already, by this point in their careers, are first ballot Hall of Famers. Already. Way before this, even. So, this is a pretty awesome feud that we hadn't had a good chance to look at before. If this would have been a little higher up on the card, it would have been even better. But they'd work twice. They'd work SummerSlam. This whole feud lasted Royal Rumble, Mania, SummerSlam. I mean, to me, a match like this, you know how they did like Savage defending the IC title against Steel at Mania 2? This would have been a better IC title match, Dusty and Savage. Oh, Sapphire just shoved Sherry into Savage, and now she's in there. I like how she dances when she works. Doing the butt. Bam. Knocking her right over. Got that rhythm. I mean, looks like she's got maybe some tennis shoes on. Can't tell what kind of foot gear she's got. Sherry's wearing boots. Yeah, it's true. Jesse's got a point. Like, I wouldn't mess with Sherry. She'd whoop my ass. Oh, no, Dusty's in there taunting her. Savage. Sapphire slaps Savage. He is. Oh, miscue between Savage and Sherry. Sherry fits so well with Savage, even better in a lot of ways than Liz did, just because of her intent. They were both had that same kind of like, you thought they were both going to explode during their promos. They're both completely out of their minds. And that's what made them great. Especially Sherry. I mean, she was all over the place, man. At ring, whether she was in the ring or outside, especially outside the ring, she'd be all over the fucking ring, screaming, yelling, making a fuss about everything. Big double axe from the top. Coming to Dusty. Look at Sherry. Smart. Good tag team wrestling. Yeah, she's just helping him. See, Gorilla or Jesse's pleading his case. Yeah, Jesse does not back down. Oh, Sapphire stopping him. Same exact spot happened to Savage at Mania 4. Andre stood in his way. All right. Damn, Macho tossed Sapphire down. Dusty down. What's going on, Moned? Jesse is not backing down from his stance on that. Elizabeth still cheering. You always got that tease between her and Sherry. We never got, you know, it was 2 WrestleManias in a row. We'd finally get a little issue between them. Ding. Wasting a lot of time. Look, Sherry's going up to the top to land on Dusty. She hit him. Huh. Why'd the referee count that? Oh, no. Double noggin knocker to Sherry? Oh, my God. Is that legal? Yeah, even Jesse's like, they started it. This whole match has just been bickering between Gorilla and Jesse. It's great. Fucking great. I mean, they had Sapphire ready to do just enough in here. Look at Sherry. Oh, yeah? Damn, Sherry went for a slap. The hair pulling spot was always hilarious. Come on, Sherry, you're a wrestler. You should take her down. And Elizabeth. Love that. It's the first time we ever saw Elizabeth ever do anything like that. Ever. She literally never got physical. Oh, Savage sells those elbows well. Sherry going after her again. Yeah. That's how the Hearts would win the tag team titles at SummerSlam. Same way. And they win. Baby faces win. Only WrestleMania match for Dusty. At least he came out on the winning side of it. He was gone by 7. Sherry and Liz, I mean, they'd come back together again under completely different circumstances 1 year from now when Sherry would turn on Savage and Elizabeth would go whoop her ass. Hello from India. Thanks for joining us. Barry, yeah, it tells you a couple of the Beth Icon, or the Icon Beth episode does tell us a couple things new. Either way, it's a good watch, though. A lot of new footage, a lot of more current stuff, and shit like that. I really enjoyed it. I liked it just as much as the Yoko one. Everybody loves Beth. Show respect to her by watching it. She's the legitimate cross between Trish and Chyna. You know, she's literally right in between. She's badass. Loved her. Everybody loves Elizabeth. All right, we got another fade to black. Another WrestleMania 7 ad here for the Coliseum next year. So, by the way, if you're just joining us, if you're watching on Peacock, you are matching up just fine with me. We're all straight with the time clock above my head. If you're watching on the network, we might have a 30-second difference by now. So just keep that in mind as we're watching here. I'll continue to try to do my best to give you guys play-by-play. Family members falling like the Berlin Wall. That's great. Oh, Bobby's pissed. The balls. That's true. I'd listen to Bobby. And Bobby forget his lines. What's going on, Mr. E? Good to see you. I like how Gene immediately dismisses him. He's like, I'm going to start a new family. And Gene's like, all right, whatever, dude. Let's just go back to Rona Barrett. She's in between these two giant dudes. Oh, is that what she is? Like a gossiper? Fuck this woman. You resemble that remark, Jess. Talking to me, you think you have something on Jesse's body that will kill what you see? Predator, Running Man? It was a little piece of film from sort of the adult library. He made a sex tape. Jesse made a sex tape. If anybody ever finds that Jesse the Body Ventura sex tape, email me the link at goodmicwork@gmail.com so I can share it with the world. Jesse's like, let's get out of here. Gorilla wants to see the footage. I bet you do, Gorilla. Like, look at these two. Look at Sherry. Look at Savage. What a promo. Mind games are my thing, yeah. God, he's so intense. He's such a whack job. Hey, shout out to the balls on Mooney for just being able to conduct this interview without dying. Sherry is just losing it. She's a complete tweaker. She's a crackhead you see under the bridge in L.A. next to a Denny's. Jesus. She's still screaming as they cut to Gene. Yeah! Demolition! Why are y'all still sweaty? You won the titles like 2 hours ago. What the hell? Shouldn't you be in, like, a t-shirt by now? Instead of your dominatrix gear? God, Demolition, they're so awesome. Bring it on. Who'd they beat? They beat Strike Force, Busters, and Andre and Haku. Not a bad group of guys. Love Axe's promos. He's such a man. I was interested in that. I was intrigued. I'm like, what are we going to get? Babyface match or whatever? And then just 1 week on TV, they come out there and they're shitting on the audience. Heels, just like that. Overnight. So annoying. I'd be into Mania going back to the Sky Dome. I just asked that earlier, how the building is. It's old now. Still usable. Do it. Oh, Gorilla watched the sex tape. Good. That's cool. I like the way back in the old days. Oh, here comes the Hogan promo. They would knock out a lot of these promos in a row on WrestleMania. This WrestleMania even had an intermission. I remember on pay-per-view, big 5-minute break. Intermission. WrestleManias don't have that anymore. I'm going to go, while Hogan talks about the earth opening them up and swallowing and Sky Dome and all that stuff and supernatural shit, I'm going to go grab a beer. I'll be right back. We're back. Hogan was at the top of his game here. Look how good he looked. All right, another broken skull for us. Do you want to live forever? Yeah, kind of. I do. I didn't know Hogan was in control of that, but I would also like to. It was so weird. Both of their promos were talking about how much they respected the other and they want to save the other. It was so weird. The one he cut the year before on Savage was just as good. It was so over the top. And look at the Warrior with his metal band hair. Or his 80s band hair. Yellow strap on that IC belt. Unbelievable. Yeah, they did, Mike. This was a 4 p.m. start for me on the East Coast, was when this came on. It It was different. Way different. I mean, I'm curious if they pre-taped this earlier in the day and then, or he just walked around in his paint and his gear all day like this. Hulk Hogan. I don't know how you don't cut your circulation off with that shit around your arms like that. Hulk Hogan. Now Hulk Hogan. I love that. Cracks me up. I mean, I don't know what he's saying. What's he saying? I'm fucking nuts. Yeah, he wants to bring them together as one. How come nobody called him a box of Fruity Pebbles? Look how fucking colorful he is. He looks like a bag of tropical Skittles. Yeah, we're probably about an hour away from that match. Oh yeah, Jesse just said the same thing. I love the Orient Express's music. This is Fuji had lost the face paint by this point. Tanaka and Sato. Oh, so who asked that? Ryan. I mentioned this on the previous podcast. We've actually aborted the idea and the plan to do a watch along next Sunday because a couple of reasons. Number one, it's Easter Sunday. I have to work during the day. I could still get home in time to do a watch along, but the next day starts 7 days in a row of streaming for WrestleMania week. Monday, Tuesday, both nights to TakeOver, Friday for predictions, night 1 and 2 of WrestleMania, and the post-Mania Raw. So it's going to be an entire week straight of streaming of me every single day. So I need Sunday to prepare. So we're not going to be here 1 week from tonight doing a watch along. I have nixed that idea. But we'll be back in April doing some more. How many people use this song? I know Bull Nakano used it. Who else? Who else used Orient Express's theme? Them, Bull Nakano. Oh, there's definitely been at least 1 or 2 more. It's a lot like the Kurt Angle theme. Like, it's had a lot of people use it. Oh, who's she? Was I the only one that noticed that? Who did more roids between Hogan and Hellwig? Yes. Yeah, see, here's another team that looks ridiculous coming to. They should. I mean, Sean and Marty are young. They're in great shape. They could have easily jogged down this. They needed to be coming down there jogging. But the way they're standing there in the cart, it doesn't look right. It looks off. At least Hogan and Warrior didn't do the carts. I mean, if they didn't have to do it, nobody needed to. But at least the Rockers should have ran down there, I feel like. Aja Kong did too. Okay, thanks for that, We Are Pro Wrestling. I was curious. I mean, I know the Skydome's been around for a lot of years. At this time, this is a brand spanking new arena. It was always a big deal, the way the roof retracted and stuff. But that's this 30-plus-year-old building now, so it's probably not time for a new one. Toronto's a great market, close to New York. WWE country up there. But that sucks. I mean, if it's going to be demolished in the next few years, I don't know. Is that where the Blue Jays still play there, right? So I don't think, I mean, unless WrestleMania wants to go in this old-ass building, I don't think you're going to see Mania there again until they have a new facility, which could be a 5 to 10 years from now. Danny Davis, referee. 3 years before, he'd be working a match at Mania. Now he's reffing. Tanaka could sell. Now, Sato, he would be replaced by Kato, who was it Paul something. And Sato would come back in like 95 to manage Hakushi, and he'd like paint his face white. I think the Rockers, I think they won maybe the year after Mania, but they lost their first couple. Yeah, WrestleMania 18 was here too. But even that was 19 years ago, you know? Yeah, I thought he was banned for life too. I always laugh my ass off about that because I was a big fan when all that Danny Davis stuff was going on, and to see him back in the ring reffing matches with no explanation, I'm like, do you think we're all stupid? Like we don't remember him? It would even be the funniest when he would referee Bret Hart matches. Ooh, Fuji whacking Jannetty with the cane. Ooh, big post bump by Jannetty. That was actually good. Thank you for that, Paul Diamond. I think he might have been one of the Max Moons too, if I remember right. Yeah, exactly. We Are Pro. I mean, it was like Danny Davis was conditionally reinstated, but they never referenced it aside from that. I mean, he was just out there and, you know, they just kind of ran out of shit for him to do as a wrestler. I mean, he never did anything. And I'm curious, like, I never have ever learned about the backstory to that. What prompted them? Because, I mean, they teased a lot of stuff with Davis. He was a part of that Savage Santana Intercontinental title match, too. And then, you know, all that time until the Hearts and the Bulldogs, and then making him this evil referee who actually becomes a wrestler. I don't know if it was him that wanted to do it, or if Vince was like, hey, I think maybe you could wrestle, or I don't know, like whose creative idea was that originally? And what was behind putting Davis in the ring? I'm just always curious. So I'd say it was about 2 years-ish he was in the ring. That was it. Best evil ref, Davis or Nick Patrick? Davis. I could not stand Nick Patrick. Never liked him. He had a dick face. Just didn't like him. But as a kid, I wanted to murder Danny Davis. I was a big Bulldogs fan when they lost. The Tito stuff didn't bother me too much. Or did, but didn't bother me as much as the Bulldogs losing. Oof. He's fine. You're fine, Sean. Kick out, Sean. There you go. Yes, that's right. Bad Company, right? Tanaka and Diamond. Look at that crowd. Jesus. I can't remember what match. It might be Dibiase and Jake. They get the wave going. It's crazy. Yeah, they worked Royal Rumble too. That's right, these teams. That one was a better match. Look at that. It's so nice. Big 360. Come on, Sean. I'd give anything to get my hands on a WrestleMania 6 ring apron. Mm. Double noggin knocker. Ooh. Sato nailed Tanaka. Double drop kick to Sato. I just think of Sato from Karate Kid whenever I say that. God, Tanaka could bump. They would work. Funny ass match. SummerSlam, they'd work Duggan and newly turned face Nikolai. Hilarious shit. These two guys are huge. They just beat the shit out of these poor guys. Look at Fuji doing his devious shit. Drops the cane. My powers of pain. Here comes Sato sneaking around. Ooh. That looked like actual real salt, not even powder. Look, there's no powder residue in the air. I always hated when they used salt and it was clearly baby powder. Oh, shit. He walked right over the railing. I'm blind. And he's legal, so he's counted out. That's right. That's good selling by Jannetty to grab the ring apron and use that. He might have legit got it in his eyes, because, I mean, it was a pretty good shot. Love that song. I love the theme music. So awesome. Fuji drops the cane. No way, Rockers. You're too green for this, man. Oh, he did nail him right in the... I mean, I think Jannetty closed his eyes, but shit. If you want to make it look real, right? And they did. I forgot about rhythm and blues. This just, to me, did not fit Valentine at all. It was so weird. And they were teaming together a year before this, but they weren't rhythm and blues yet. They were just Honky and Hammer. Honky and Hammer sounds way better than rhythm and blues. Look at Greg trying to fucking... He doesn't even know what he's doing. It's like me trying to do that shit. I wouldn't even know. Valentine wearing leather pants just doesn't even sound right to say. Look how tight Steve Allen's button is. That button's hanging on for dear life. And MWG, I think you're right. They probably have all those aprons and shit loaded up in the warehouse there. They should auction them off. But then I'd never get them because I wouldn't be able to afford that. But Honky's like doesn't even want anything to do with Steve Allen. I don't know, Valentine. This didn't suit him at all, at all. Like it's literally like putting the worst gimmick you can think of on someone. Like the exact opposite of what they're capable of doing, is what they did with Valentine there. Valentine has one personality. There's no levels to it. What you see is what you get. Dino Bravo. Oh, yeah, he works Duggan, I think. Dino would be around for about another year, then no more Dino. Be dead in 3, or dead in 2, I think. Yeah, Duggan didn't have his theme music yet. Another recycled theme that they used for Stud. Damn, Jesse. Now, okay, now Jesse's trying to have logic here, but he's making no sense now. He's calling Duggan stupid for carrying an American flag into Canada. Why would he do that, carrying an American flag? Well, Jesse, what do you think the fucking Bolsheviks were doing earlier on? The same thing, carrying their country's flag, you idiot. Ugh. When everybody's in the States and they bring out the flags, it's not a problem. So, yeah, Jesse sounded stupid there. I like Jesse's logic, but that time he had it way wrong. Crowd doesn't seem to care much. Yeah, the new Dark Side of the Rings are going to be coming out soon. This Bravo one was pretty sad. I just watched the. They've been doing the round or the recap and the interview stuff with the creators and Conrad and stuff, and we watched the Gino Hernandez one and the Screwjob one again. Julie Hart was on the Screwjob one briefly, which was interesting. A henchman. Oh yeah, earthquakes out there. Yeah, Duggan's strong, man. Jesse thinks that's absurd. Yeah, Jesse was there when Bravo like beat the record thing or whatever. Pardon me 1 second. Just hang a little Hall of Famer for a second. Oops. Whatever, Jesse. I remember thinking Bravo was going to win the Intercontinental title prior to the Hogan match. Even in my head, I was thinking, I'm like, I could see that. I could see them putting the IC belt on him. They never did. I remember Bravo when he was a brunette. Yeah, Hacksaw's still with us, so is Jimmy. But yeah, Earthquake and Bravo are both passed away. It's amazing to see Earthquake here, knowing that he beat Golga in the Oddities years later. I didn't see it either, Jesse, so stop complaining. Oh, Jesse's losing his mind. Oh, see, he's giving him shit about the hot dogs. It is this show. You got mustard all over yourself. So funny. Mm. Yeah, Jesse does not. Jesse's been giving Hacksaw shit. You'd think they had heat. I remember as soon as Duggan came in, Jesse was giving on his case. Even 1 week on Superstars, like early in Duggan's run, he called him retarded. He called him the R word, like right on TV. Like he's hated Duggan for some reason. I'm always curious about the backstory there. It seemed a little bit like more than just a heel commentator doing his job. It felt more personal. He just had something against him. I don't know what it is. It's one thing to be a heel, but man, he obsessively was on the case of Duggan a lot. Always thought he was dumb and shit like that, you know? Hey, this Dino Bravo and Mark Henry, if you could put that match together in a video game, might be pretty cool. Nobody had to help Mark Henry lift his weights. Because they did a spot on TV where he had to break like the bench press record and Jesse was there. And Jesse like lift up the bar to help him. Fucking earthquake. Oh, I love it. Serves him right. Jimmy's the one that threw in the board. Man, Hacksaw overcame the odds. That was 3-on-1. Oh, shit. He's going to get attacked. Yeah, he's getting his ass kicked by Earthquake now. Oh, so Earthquake hits more earthquakes on this WrestleMania. Multiple matches for Earthquake. Pillman's got a gun. He did have good elbows. Andre couldn't throw elbows. Earthquake was good at him. Because he was young. Another Earthquake. That's the third one. Poor Duggan. He's like, ow. Yeah, that would hurt. I mean, this move, if it was a shoot, would fucking kill you. Well, not really. He's the Canadian Earthquake, and he's not Canadian, so he's not a foreign object. He's just an object. 3 of them? So he had 5 Earthquakes on WrestleMania 6. I guess I never really processed that before. 2x4 to the back. Boom. Of course, Gorilla Monsoon thinks that's totally legal. Jesse is so salty. I love it. Love it. Mm-hmm. That's how you pay for it. Oh, here we go. Snake and $1 Million Man. Making sure, yeah, timers are still in sync, so we're good. I remember Boss Man turned babyface during all this. This was such a feud. A good one, too. Jake and Dibiase. It's kind of random. I know a belt is not on the line, but you know what this feud reminds me of? It reminds me of Christian and Randy Orton. It's just like kind of underrated. Like good matches. The chemistry was good. Well, I guess there was a belt on the line, the $1 Million belt. But it reminds me of that. It gives me the same feeling that they do. Yeah, I forgot the match was actually for the belt. It took Dibiase forever to defend that thing. He'd finally defend it here. He'd defend it later against Virgil. He would give it to Austin. That is one replica I will not buy. The $1 million belt. I always thought it was ugly. I remember when Dibiase was making it, they were running spots on TV where he would go to the jeweler or whoever was making the belt, and the original one was the guy saying to him, like, I'm going to have this nice black leather, and he's like, no leather. Gold on the front, gold on the back. All gold. Like nothing other than gold. But I didn't really like that. I prefer a leather strap. It's more comfortable. Thanks, Otto. Glad you're loving the stream. My name was almost Otto. My dad wanted to name me Otto. My mom wouldn't let him. So then when he got himself a dog, he named the dog Otto after me. Otto passed away about 20 years ago. Rest in peace, Otto.
Here we are at WrestleMania.
Oh, sorry for that, Muhammad. It's not a belt. Oh, I got to listen to the promo. Shut up.
Why? Because everything you stand for is on the line. $1 million belt. Oh, yeah. It can be yours once again. You see, all you have to do to get it back.
Jake is so good.
But you see, Damien and I don't forget. We remember all the times you made people come in. These were people far less fortunate than you. People who use your money.
He's right.
You made fun of them. You humbled them, and you humiliated them. Well, now it's my turn. I'm going to make you beg, Dibiase.
Jake was speaking for us, you know.
Get down on your hands and knees. This time, you'll be the one that's humble. This time, you'll be the one that's humiliated. And this time, you'll be the one that grovels for the money. The money you grovel for, a victim.
He's so good. You can imagine Jake being like in a mob boss role on TV. He could have been fucking Pesci or fucking De Niro or something. Like, seriously. It's ridiculous. Look at these people. Vision Streetwear. I had some of that. Some Canadian money. Making his spring residence. I always loved the way Hogan called him the multi-million-dollar man. Because, like, the $1 million man, $1 million, even in the 80s, would not have been enough. I mean, maybe it could have, to really live the lifestyle he claims to live. Different residents every season, private planes and shit. It could take a lot more than $1 million to do that. So Hogan always throwing that multi in there was so good. I mean, if you spend all your money on, if you're a $1 million man, you spend all $1 million on the belt, then you're a $0 man. I loved Jake's theme song too. They had this is another recycled theme. They had used this. There was a video package they did with I think it was leading up to SummerSlam, again, the first one with Hogan and Savage against Andre and Dibiase. And they do this like workout montage in the gym, very Rocky, you know, Rocky movie-esque. And they played this theme during it. And then they resurrected it for Jake, which fit him. It was good. Jesse and the hot dogs. What is his deal? I mean, this is as... These guys are as pro as you get. Jake and Ted. And Dibiase, like, it was so good at selling these Jake moves too. Yeah, I know Tenta is from Canada. That's why I said he's not a foreign object. He's from Canada. He's just an object. Jesse is obsessed. Hmm. Smart move them putting the $1 million title on the line too on this show, since the IC belt wasn't on the line. I mean, it was, but not in its own separate match. It was Mel Phillips that just trotted across the... Just give Virgil a breadstick. Should keep him busy for a couple minutes. Man, he is. He really is. Subsclecularis area. Is that the arm? I love Jesse. Yeah. I never knew what the hell Gorilla was talking about whenever he'd say octubertus protuberance and shit like that. I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? Finally, Jesse would talk some sense to him and be like, no, Monsoon, it's the back, it's the arm. Subsclecularis. I miss Gorilla. I was at WrestleMania 15. I pretty much saw his last appearance live. It was very sad. Sad moment. Yeah, Jake could all definitely been IC champ. I can just be like Vince, like, what do you need a belt for? You gotta carry the belt. You already got a snake. This is a really good feud, just like Dusty and Savage was. But I would have liked to see Jake and Savage feud around this time too, with Savage as a heel and Jake as a face. And then they do it again in '92, which was really good, with the roles reversed. But here would have been fun, like right in this year, like right around '90 would have been perfect for those two to hook it up. Anything before or after, it wouldn't have matched up as well. But this would have been the perfect year for a good Savage Jake feud with some really good matches. Wow, what a missed on the knee lift. Vince was good in his own way, but Monsoon just had a... There's something comforting about Monsoon always on commentary. He always picks up... Well, he better. He's a $1 million man. This is Morella. I think his third match reffing tonight. He's been a busy guy. I know. I saw a few results on UFC last night, but I mean, I don't follow it much, so I saw the controversy with the ref not stopping it quick enough or whatever. But I really hate Dana White. Like, I don't like him, so I don't really give a shit about UFC too much. The wave is going in the Sky Dome. The wave is awesome. And y'all ever been in a building during a wave? I've probably experienced like 5 waves. It's pretty cool. But the wave is going. Oh no, I've been in way more than 5 more waves. I forgot about San Diego. We do them at Petco all the time. The wave. There it goes. That's so cool. I wonder if Edge did the wave. He better have. Hmm. Vince wasn't on every show. I can't ever remember a time where Vince was on every show. I mean, maybe in the 90s he was like, he would do Superstars, I think, and he will not even all the time though. Sometimes Ross would, but before Ross got there, he'd do Superstars, he'd do Raw, but he wouldn't do pay-per-views until the late 90s. And then by then you had other shows like Action Zone. He wasn't doing those. So he didn't do everything. Jesse's acting like, oh, this is all for Ted. It's a shame Ted DiBiase Jr. never made it. Keep the generations going. Because Ted's dad wrestled. Mike DiBiase died in the ring. I feel like we're getting a sunset flip or something here. Yeah. Or sort of. Ooh, that's an interesting way to hold him down, though. Like, he shouldn't have been able to kick out of that without help. Oh, yeah, Vince definitely would have that fake laugh, wouldn't he? Oh, God, he was so awful. But, man, he had a promoter's voice, man. He could do the P.T. Barnum type of shit pretty well. And he was able to get over his angles the way he wanted to get them over. He wasn't Jim Ross. He didn't know what the fuck any moves were. Every move was a suplex, was a maneuver. Every move was a maneuver. Oh, $1 Million Dream sunk in on Jake. But I think Vince's energy had somebody like him at the time. Like, you knew there's something up. There had to be something more than him just being the announcer. Nobody has that much passion. He's got Jake down. Jake's got his foot on the rope, luckily for him. Now, Jesse's all mad that Jake's putting the foot on the rope. He had no problem with Bobby doing that to Barbarian earlier on. And a kick out. I don't know how Wheezy, the next watch along might not be a WrestleMania because we're going to be done with WrestleMania season by the time I'm back to do another one. So we might have to do a King of the Ring watch along. Everything's on the table now. So I can pretty much do any show, whatever one I like or whatever things get suggested. I'm like, oh, that'll be a good one. I try to keep them topical if we can. You know, if we got Money in the Bank coming up, well, I don't want to watch any Money in the Bank, so don't suggest any of those to me. But since we're coming up on summer, King of the Ring, SummerSlam stuff would be a lot of fun. In your houses would be fun. Anything like that, I'm open to do. Fully Loadeds or Judgment Days or Unforgivens, anything like that, I'm into it. I was at the first 2 Unforgivens. I could do one of those. Might be fun. Yeah, Vince always thought every near fall was a pin. That was the funniest part. He got him. Oh, no, he didn't. Man, DiBiase's in trouble, all right. I love that short arm clothesline. One of my favorite moves. He's not waiting that long, Jesse. Just relax. Same amount of time he uses in every match. Maybe 2011. I don't know. It's too modern. I don't give a shit about anything modern these days, but I'll watch it if everybody wants me to. We've reviewed it. We reviewed it last year, I think. What a maneuver. $2 from Chris. Virgil took a hard slam. Virgil got his ass kicked every year at WrestleMania. Oof. Little bummed we didn't get a finish in the ring here, based on how good the match was. And Virgil helped him win. Tossed him back in. Dibiase wins via countout. Wins the $1 million belt. Countout. See, back then you could make it work. Back then there was no internet for the fans to go on and be like, I can't believe that was a countout. Nobody gave a shit. It didn't matter to us. Still ate it up. Looking back though, yeah, Jesse's explaining why that is the deal, because it's a non-sanctioned belt. You can win it on a countout. As long as you win, you win. Hearts were very good in the 80s, but night and day compared to others. I mean, they were good, but they weren't any better, really, than the Bulldogs. Heart Foundation's my favorite team ever, but Bulldogs were also there. So were the Islanders. So were the Bees. So were Demolition. A lot of those teams were just as good. I love the Hearts, but I'm not ridiculous about it, you know? And there goes the money. I mean, this isn't even really revenge. I mean, if he's a multi-million-dollar man, what did he drop? Like a G, maybe? Got $1,000 on the ground? Big deal. You're fucking multi-million-dollar man. It's like $5 to the rest of us. So you lost $5, whatever. But Jake, you know, passes out the money and stuff. Virgil running away with the belt. Oh, that was a good DDT. That would be fun. I'd be into Judgment Day 2000. I watched that at home. I remember that. We knew Taker was coming back, though. It was leaked. I remember prior to the show, we knew we'd see him. Hey, I'm glad you're here, David Schneider. Thanks for popping in, saying hello. Hope everything's going all right for everyone who is following along, actually. I know for those of you watching on Peacock right now, you're probably right along with me. Everything's fine. If you're not watching on Peacock, I hope things are all right, based on where you are. This is a real $100 bill. Oh, God, get it. Yeah. $100 was a little bit more money in 1990. You could stretch that a little further. That'll buy a whole lot of McDonald's. I remember when I started driving, gas was like 78 cents a gallon or something like that. Like, could you imagine that now? Oh, my God. It's 4 times that. Oh, Judgment Day 02 would be good too. Taker, Hogan, hair versus hair. Who was in the hair match? It was Angle, right? Maybe Edge. Might have been Edge. I think it was Edge. I know WWE would never do this, but when it comes to people like Demolition or just Hall of Fame in general, I'd like to see. I'd like for us to vote. Every WWE or Peacock subscriber gets to vote 1 time. Vote for your picks for the Hall of Fame, and they go in, but they'll never do that. Look at that snake, Jesus! I love that Virgil. Yeah, Virgil ran back out there with it. Jake told some gnarly stories about the snake on the Jericho cruise. A couple of them I didn't appreciate. He confirmed and verified the story that one of them got frozen solid and dead in the trunk. And then he had another one where he said the snake got out in his garage and got in the gears of his garage opener or his garage door. And then when he opened the electronic door, it shredded the snake all up. He told this like it was a funny story, like his tone. I'm like, there's nothing funny about this, dude. It's fucked up. Didn't much appreciate that on the, oh, Slick. Y'all can see him. He's right back there. Right where my finger's pointing. Right there. Slick. I'm tickling his chin. Love Slick. Fucking Akeem. My God. How do they talk him into doing this? God. The African dream. You get the African dream and the American dream in there. Ugh. Jive Soul Bro has got to be my favorite song of all time. Jesus Christ. Hey, props to Ray Trey. Look at how freaking slim and trim he looks. When he came in 88, when he was Big Bubba, and then jumped over and became Big Boss Man, he was like 400 pounds. He looks incredible here. I may be poor. You're wrestling at WrestleMania. You are not poor. Tribal reject from Africa. Jesus. Okay. Proud to be an American. All right. Random patriotism. Whatever. Yeah, these were the Twin Towers. They were pretty dominant. Slick was awesome. I loved Slick, man. When he came in, like, I'd say 86 to right now. Yeah, a couple years from now, he'd go babyface, Reverend Slick. Didn't care much about that, but he was great here. And that Jive Soul Bro song is hysterical. Yes, One Man Gang is still alive. Back when I was on Facebook, I was friends with him on Facebook. He lives down in Louisiana. He had some tough times, though. He lost his house in one of the hurricanes. I think he had some health problems. As far as I know, he's still with us. To wish him the best. He was always a very positive presence on your timeline. I don't think I'll ever go back to Facebook. I really hate it. I can't even go on the channel. I suck at posting updates over there. I just hate the platform. Yeah, this is an interesting spot here because they just split up the Twin Towers, but in a separate situation. They didn't split up because they had a problem with each other. Boss Man just went babyface. So that made them kind of put this match together for Mania 6, but they were going to kick off Dibiase and Boss Man, which leads to what happens here at the beginning of the match. Oh, happy birthday, Umaga. Today would have been Umaga's whatever old birthday, probably mid-40s by now. Wow, Nia Jax's Insta post. He carries a big stick, a ball and chain. He stopped carrying the ball and chain when he went babyface. No more ball and chain for him. Just big stick. Or the Billy Club. No relation to the Tommy Gunn. Or the Bobby Penn. Mr. T is no relation to Mr. Coffee. And my mom is no relation to my father. In case you're wondering. Love this song. See, look at DiBiase hung out there this whole time. Is he under the ring? I mean, you know, at least a couple fans had to notice him crawl under the ring, so they're probably like, what the hell's he doing? Is there a secret tunnel under there that leads to Mexico? Or is he just going to hang out? I mean, this is a burial of Akeem in a lot of ways. I mean, Boss Man just gets his ass kicked out here by Dibiase on the floor. Look at Akeem. His hair was getting long around this point. God, he looked ridiculous in that blue outfit. He was a scary guy as one-man gang. He was a moron as Akeem. I really hated Akeem. Yeah, just whooped his ass. Jesse's still salty about Elizabeth. That's so funny. Divine Ricks, appreciate the 5, man. There's a lot. Wasn't there a lot of future WWE stars that attended this WrestleMania? Edge is the only one I knew of for sure, but there could have been more. I mean, 1990, a lot of those Attitude Stars would have been kids around this point, just like I was. I was in 10th grade, I guess. Something like that around this time. 9th? Nah, 9th. 9th, I think. Hakeem, the African Dream. Look at those boots he's wearing. Jesus. They look like galoshes. I never noticed he's wearing galoshes. And after this, I don't remember seeing Akeem anymore. That was it for him. This is the end of a lot of... This is a final moment for a lot of people. Andre. I mean, I know we'd see him again, but technically. Pretty much the last of the great days of Demolition. Last of Beefcake. Last of Akeem. They wouldn't even bring him back in. I would have repackaged him again, put him back with the one-man gang, but I don't know what he would go off and do after this, but I know he'd turn up in WCW 5 years later, but between now and then, oof. Side slam, that's it. Still wins. Got his ass kicked outside of the ring and still beat him. Man, I don't know when Boss Man debuted that theme, but this had to have been really close. I mean, he was a heel just 2 months before this, so... And he wasn't using this theme then. Yeah, Boss Man turned face during when he had to put his hand in the bag to get the belt out or whatever. I remember that. And he's like, I ain't scared to do it. But it was kind of like a Hercules type of deal. Like, that was an easy way to turn a guy babyface. You can just have Dibiase pay or buy them, and then they can be like, nobody buys me, and then there you go. So they did that a couple of times. That was the way to get the Boss Man into a face, and same with Herc. Poor Slick. Is that the only time he was out there tonight? I don't think he was managing anybody else at the time. Oh, we're going to go find Sean once we fade to black again. All right, we got Sean Mooney in the audience. I hope he interviews Edge. Oh, God, it's time for the new hit single. Who the hell is this kid? They can't do anything. I think you're Seamus. I think you're Jameson's love child. Boy, what did that kid ever grow up to be? Probably a porn star. Hunka, 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 hunka love. Mary Tyler Moore. I'm just old enough to be around for that show. Look at all these creepers. Look at the creepers behind her. Look how they all look like pedophiles. Don't get into their van, whatever you do. She doesn't know shit about what she's talking about. Why are we interviewing her? Oh, yeah, Greg Valentine was trying to go for a Johnny Cash thing a little bit. Oh, so terrible. Do we have to watch this? For real? Oh, we're going to ring the bell for it. Even Finkel can't make this good. For those of you who have never heard this fun fact before, it is DDP driving this pink Cadillac down to the ring. They got a gold album already. I miss Peggy Sue, who was Sherry. Peggy Sue stopped showing up too. K-Dog's Kennel, what's up, man? Appreciate the 5 from you, dude. I always have a special place for this show due to them putting Royer over Hogan. Back then, Hogan seemed invisible. It was. I was shocked. I couldn't. This was very surreal for a fan our age, based on what we'd seen previously from Hogan. And he was on a 6-year-long roll there. Look at DDP. I never noticed him. He's just kind of jiving like that. Don't floor it by accident. It's already gone gold. I love everybody trying to say the name of the song. This is the better one. The one they're singing here. This fucking other song sucks. Oh, man. How can I watch this without a little bit of help here? Kathleen Turner. No, it's not. Just relax, Gorilla. God. Yeah, rest in peace, Beaver Kid. I watched Bundy murder him in person. That was sad. This is so bad. Honky-ettes. Oh, Jesus. I bet you are ready, Jimmy, you little weirdo. They are so off-key. The girls are fine. Man, With My Baby Tonight was better than this. This is the worst shit I've ever seen. Why are we watching this again? You're not even in sync with the tune. This sucks. Greg Valentine does not know how to play the guitar. Greg knows 2 things. Wrestle, eat potatoes. That's it. I love the guitar. Ugh. He sings. I love that after he's done playing the guitar, you still hear the guitar playing. It's so fucking bad. Like, are they back at Gorilla, like, looking at each other like, yeah, we probably shouldn't have done this? Because they played this shit up on TV. Like they're releasing Stairway to Heaven or something. Yeah, hunka suck is what they released. Yeah, I would have preferred this being edited out over the Piper Bad News match, and that match was terrible. Piper wouldn't put anybody over. It just ended in a DQ. Or count out. Ugh, so bad. The only people with any musical rhythm at all in that whole ordeal were the two backup singers. Thank you very much. I don't want a hunky love a second time. I'm good with one hunk. Michael, appreciate the $5 from you, dude. Did we ever get Rhythm and Blues versus Bushwhackers after this match? I think we did. They worked the live events. I'm sure of it. We might have gotten it on TV. Bushwhackers were out there just to kibosh the whole thing. I wish they would have shown up earlier. Bushwhackers are crazy. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got to have a little buffer, little breather. We still get another one. I know we get Rude and Snuka. Might even be another match, but that might be it, actually, now that I think about it. Probably is. They left their instruments. Oh, yeah, they smash them up. Like, this is a big deal. How many times we've seen guitars destroyed in wrestling? I like Butch's guest jeans that he's wearing. That's hilarious. Oh, those are real guitars, the way they're smashing them. I mean, they're not breaking apart like a balsa wood guitar would be. God, that whole entire thing was pointless. Look at the dudes in the tuxedos and the warrior paint. That's cool. Marching with my friends, it would be all of us in a tuxedo and Bret Hart glasses. God, the mullets are out in full force in this WrestleMania. 67,000 people. I gotta say 20K mullets easily. 3 months before this, it was 1989. How crazy is that? Man. Okay, we're going to an advertisement. What are we going to? Here we go. Oh, we're going to get the attendance right here. 67 plus, I think. $67. 67, 678. Amazing. So that's the thing. If WWE can pack out a house, they can always set the attendance record because their playing field is so small. You got a football game going on. You need all that space on the floor. Basketball game, same thing. Concert, usually with half of it cut off. So like with wrestling, you just need a little ring and an aisleway. Everything else you can fill in with fans. That's why the Silverdome record held for so long. Good. I mean, in reality, this is closer to what the Mania crowd was. Mania crowd probably had a... Oh, can you believe this? They're editing the Ravishing Rick Rude theme on Peacock. I don't know why. I guess, did Jim Johnson not produce that theme? Oh, that sounds so bad. While he's making that shitty entrance, I'm going to be right back. Don't go anywhere. We are back. Apologize for the delay. Just went to get another cold one. Just need to find a bottle opener. Moving on to Stella for the main event. I mean, on paper, this is a pretty damn good match too, but it just means nothing. Now, Jimmy had come back the previous year. He was out after WrestleMania 1. He wasn't seen again, at least in WWE. Went and worked AWA and did some other places. Came back in '89, and then he just had a spot on the card. He was Tito. You know, he was pretty much Tito Santana, just, you know, putting guys over. Very similar role to Tito. They got Steve Allen. They got Steve Allen on commentary, Terry, talking about how ugly Jimmy Snuka is. Yeah, no shit, Steve. Jimmy will kill you. I mean, maybe literally. He was always in stupidly good shape. Look at him. I mean, Rude a year before was winning the IC belt from the Ultimate Warrior. Just a few months later than this, he would be challenging the Warrior at SummerSlam in that cage match main event. He'd cut his hair, go on to start feuding with the Boss Man, and then gone off to WCW. So we were down to our final. This is our final few moments of Rick Rude too. A lot of guys on this WrestleMania were not on the next WrestleMania. Like a lot of guys. Oof. Snuka would be there next year. We're 1 year out from The Undertaker. 9 months, really. Snuka doing that is a trip. That's hysterical. He does the hip swivel just as good as Rude does. Snuka. I swear Jesse was like low-key racist sometimes. I mean, he was just so funny. I shouldn't say funny, but kind of shameless almost. Oh, yeah, Snuka's wearing his wife's underwear. Yeah, he kind of is. I don't know, Steve. I certainly don't think your wife wears underwear like that. She probably wears granny panties, has Metamucil on the rocks while she watches Jeopardy and goes to bed. I loved Rick Rude. I mean, I'm biased towards Rick Rude because we both look identical with our shirts off, but also because I thought he was a good wrestler. Wish he would have gotten a run with the world in WWE. Finally got it in WCW, but yeah, this is our final match before our big main event. Snuka. I was like, yeah, fans, go get your concessions now, man. Yeah, they let a lot of people go, but a lot of it was their own doing and shit. Like Rude had a steroid thing or something. But other guys, like Akeem, like we talked about earlier on, yeah, they kind of just went away. Just really weird. Sucks. Got to remember, they were still small, family run at this point. They weren't public or anything like that. Vince wasn't a billionaire. That was well executed. Snuka barely sold it, though. I cannot believe they edited this music. Yeah, I enjoyed Rude in WCW. I enjoyed him a lot there. I was sad to see him go from WWE, but when he turned up there and I got to see him, he just showed up on like Saturday night. I just recognized him. I'm like, holy shit, Rick Rude's here. Let his chest hair grow out, changed up his look a little bit, had a little more rugged look to him. Finally won the world. He looked great with that gold belt, didn't he? Rude? All right, we're getting recap of Hogan and Warrior. Nobody moves. I had to look it up because I couldn't remember that very show, Royal Rumble '90. I couldn't remember if I did a watch along for it or a review of it. So if anybody gives a shit, if you want to save that for later, there's the link to the Rumble review. Yep, and then they had to team them together on SNL, and then the accidental clothesline. And I remember watching this at this time. As soon as they hooked up in the Rumble, I said, Mania. But then they stalled you out and did a little bit of this first with the SNL, or I keep saying SNL, with the Saturday Night's Main Event stuff. And then the main event that was after that a month later. Now, this would have been the NBC primetime show. Buster Douglas had just won the title from Mike Tyson right before all this. These main events were huge. 2 years before was the big Hogan-Andre match, 33 million viewers. Or no, the year after was Buster Douglas, I think. I can't remember when that happened. Oh. That was awesome. And then they both try to like go through things where they try to help each other out. And here's where Earthquake, look at that brown shit he's wearing. And Earthquake now takes credit for that very Earthquake move for Hogan losing the title. Now now Warrior runs out to save him. I mean, this was Austin and Rock at Mania 17, you know? This is the same type of shit. Except nobody turned heel here. Like, why would Warrior just start running right there? I mean, that was a pretty cool thing for the fans to see, like Hogan and Warrior. Like, you didn't see that from WWE very much. Even when they gave us the dream match 3 years prior of Hogan and Andre, they had to make it babyface heel. They couldn't do babyface. So for them to do this here was like pretty fucking nuts, man. I didn't know what to think or who was going to win. Even though the writing should have been on the wall with it being title for title. Like, why the hell would Hogan win the IC title, you know? Would have been random and stupid, especially if you got to forfeit it back right after that. You basically just be winning the title and then just giving it back. Made no damn sense. Chris, what's up, dude? Appreciate 5 more from you. I think Rude's music was edited years ago because I watched Raw from... Oh, yeah, I know it has been edited before. August 97, 2 years ago, his music was different. So I guess they don't have the rights to that one. Maybe Jim Johnson didn't produce that, or there's another backstory behind it. I don't remember. But it's weird why that one randomly isn't allowed. There's some other examples of that, too, where there's some music here, like Hillbilly Jim's music. Don't Go Messing with a Country Boy. That's another one that's like not allowed, but that was on one of their own albums. But it must have something to do with the licensing rights or whatever. Either way, it sucks. Warrior made a great entrance. No riding ring carts for these guys. This is the real deal. What was so interesting about this match, too, is Jesse's commentary, because prior to this point, Jesse had always been very anti-Hogan due to real personal life jealousy he had of Hogan. But here, it's like all that went aside. As much as he maybe disliked Hogan, he disliked the Warrior more. And for the first time ever in your wrestling ears, you would hear Jesse put over Hogan in this match multiple times. And I always found that interesting to me. I was like, man, as much as Jesse didn't care much for Hogan, he respected him more than Warrior because of where Hogan been. They had worked similar territories. They had similar gimmicks. And even though they had their differences, Jesse, I think at the end of the day, had respect for Hogan as the champ. And I felt like in his commentary, he was against Warrior winning the title. He's putting over the ovation here. I mean, everything else they would do before would be the opposite. Here in this match, Jesse compliments Hogan for keeping his cool and criticizes Warrior for being all jacked up. He would do the same thing in the Warrior-Andre match, or the Hogan-Andre match. He would criticize Hogan for being too jacked up and where Andre was cool and calm and collected and shit. So, look at this visual. Hogan entering the ring and Warrior standing there. Those signs in the crowd really helped, too. Those dual shots of Hogan and Warrior and that one big one with Hogan's face just added to the big-time feel of it. The fans played a role and they didn't even know it. Because that's one image that stands out for me as a kid watching this. For those of you watching right now, Hogan's doing his ear thing. His shirt's torn off. He's in the ring. We're ready to rock and roll. Warrior's on the middle rope. So if you're watching not on Peacock, try to sync up with us a little bit. Thumbnail image is coming up with Hogan and Warrior face to face. I mean, Hogan's not my favorite person, but that Winged Eagle title looks really good on him. And the IC looks good on Warrior. And this was a big deal. And this is something else Hogan didn't do. I mean, he kept the title on. You didn't see Hogan wearing the title very often without his shirt on. Even something as subtle and small as that is something that you never saw. We got another fade to black here, I guess. Must have been another ad. See, Jesse's putting him over. He took his time. He kept his cool. Warrior's a madman. Piper would do... Everybody was anti-Warrior because at SummerSlam, Piper would do the same thing. Piper, a babyface, shits on Warrior the whole time. Excuse me. And puts over Rick Rude in the cage match. It's crazy. Nobody liked Hellwig at all. That's a cool image with their belts on their... I mean, it's such an awesome image. Fucking Earl's got to deal with this. Jesse just called him referee Hebner because they made the transition between Earl and Dave without saying anything. So Dave was a ref for a while, and I think Earl took over. Dave moved to backstage, and they didn't start calling him Earl for a few years later. There it is. There's that image that I remember as a kid. Ultimate Warrior, when he was going like, he reminds me of like Teen Wolf for some reason, like the Michael J. Fox movie. And here's the brilliance of wrestling. These two guys literally do absolutely nothing to each other, and they have us eating out of the palm of their hand. That's why this match was able to go 20 minutes, because they literally did dick for the first 5 minutes of it. Tests of strength and shit like that. I mean, Hogan's bigger, taller, stronger. He poses for in front of Warrior. That's great. See, I don't even mind Vince making the decision to put the belt on the Warrior, because at least Vince had forward thinking. At least he realized that his red and yellow superhero isn't going to be around forever. He's already losing his hair. I should make plans for the future to keep the ball rolling. Maybe he didn't make the right call with the best guy, but based on how over the Warrior was at the time, he was the next in line in terms of overall popularity to Hogan. So it was a decision we probably all would have made. Just Warrior turned out to be such a shithead. I like there's a difference in color between the camera cuts here that I'm noticing too. AJ Daniels, what's up, buddy? Thanks for the 5. This match, like Vince and Hogan, is better than it had any right to be, given those great. None of them are great workers. Same thing with Hogan and Rock. Hogan's done this twice in the same building. On paper, this match should, from a in-ring work perspective, should be the worst match we've ever seen. And it wasn't. The one they would do in 98 was, but this one was not. Hogan would do it again in 02 with Rock in the very same building. Match should not be that great. And it was tremendous because of the crowd. Just like this, the crowd, I was the same way. I was on the edge of my seat. You can't explain this, how important this was at the time to someone who didn't live it. Like my teenage brain, super fan brain, was going a million miles an hour right now. I had no idea who to side with or whatever. I think I was a little bit more on the Hogan camp, but I remember being a little bummed out when he lost. I wasn't in touch with I didn't know what I wanted. There's things I liked about Warrior, things I liked about Hogan. I was more a fan of guys like Brett and Perfect and other guys like Jake. Big fans of them, probably even more so than Hogan and Warrior at this time. But this was still a nail-biting moment for me. I mean, I was like, this is fucking incredible. Hogan and Warrior. Who'd have thought we'd see this? Ever. WWE didn't do these matches. And plus, this was the first time in a while you had 2 super baby faces. Hogan and Savage maybe during the Mega Powers days, but you didn't have a number 2 to Hogan on the babyface side. You know, like we'd have years later with Brett, Shawn, Austin, Rock, 2 big dominating baby faces. Hogan didn't have that babyface equal in the 80s. And as soon as they found that here in the Warrior, they put him in a Mania match. So nobody was on Hogan's level from a babyface perspective prior to this. Nobody. No matter where you try to dig up a name. They weren't. It's one of my favorite images. It definitely looks X-rated. Hey, how you doing, Scott Moss? Appreciate the 5 from you, dude. I remember watching this pay-per-view back in 7th grade. Yeah, you and I are about the same age. I was maybe a year or 2 older, maybe. Still surprised. Warrior 1, end of an era. My favorite commentating crew, Gorilla and Jesse. They were great. You echoed a lot of what I've said already in this watch-along. I like that Hogan busted out some wrestling there. Hogan could wrestle when he wanted to. He understood. He did things. He was tough. He would work Japan and do some shit you'd never expect to see him do. Where Warrior couldn't wrestle his way out of a wet fucking condom. Big body slam. No sells it, of course. They're so out of their element, too. I mean, both of these guys are expected to sell babyface offense. They're not used to doing that. Neither one of them. Except for really early in their careers. It was a weak-looking top rope clothesline. How long has this been going on? Professional wrestling? 130 years, 40 years, something like that. Long time. If you mean this podcast, if you mean this watch along, we are 3 hours and 15 minutes in. Hogan and Warrior are in the ring. Main event, WrestleMania 6. Oh, yeah, Hogan's selling the knee like he's taken out. And you didn't know, the camera didn't see him bump on the outside of the ring, so I remember thinking this, like, I hope he's not really hurt. Like, imagine that. Imagine somewhere in an alternate universe, when Hogan took that bump, he actually did blow his knee out and couldn't continue the match. Could you imagine the disappointment and how we would look back at this as one of the biggest missed opportunities? What if Hogan wouldn't have gotten hurt? What would have happened? I mean, Vince talks about how he's always had, like, lady luck that's helped him. He really has. He's dodged some major bullets. We just watched one 2 weeks ago, WrestleMania 19, Brock Lesnar, shooting star press. He could have ended WrestleMania with a death You know, but instead he dodged that bullet. Like, the only time shit really went off the rails for them was like the Montreal screw job, where he had to make a crazy decision. Other than that, other than the pandemic that we've dealt with, you know, they've never had a real big catastrophe that's fucked up one of their big time Mania main events. Goody two shoes. I would have been cool with seeing like a heel Ultimate Warrior in WWE if he would have stuck around. Heel Warrior like 93, 94 after the superhero shit had worn off and Brett's champ and Flair had been there, and you know, you got a few more wrestlers in the ring than normal. Make a Warrior a heel. I'd give it a shot. Hogan trying to get up there on the ropes, struggling. You know what's so funny about watching TV back in the day? Little detail here. The Warriors trunks, their orange trunks, you know, on the front of them, he's got little Ultimate Warrior symbols on them. Well, that wasn't visible on my pay-per-view feed and on my original broadcast because it was old school. It was 1990. It was a tube TV recorded onto a VCR VHS tape on a shitty VCR. You know, like, you didn't see little HD details like that. And I remember, like, a couple of months later, because that's how long it would take for the WWF magazines to get caught up and print all the photos from the WrestleMania. So in the summertime, you get the WrestleMania WWF magazine with Warrior celebrating, and you thumb through it and you see all the pictures. And I remember looking at the pictures being like, holy shit, Warrior's got little Warrior stamps on his tights that was never visible. I just thought he was wearing all orange with the one big one on his ass. I had no idea he had little ones all over it because you couldn't see it on TV. That's how blurry and shitty the quality was back then. So all you HD and 4K babies in the world used to be a lot different, let me tell you. But I'll never forget reading the magazine and looking at it. I almost thought like it was doctored footage or they had reshot something. I'm like, wait a minute, I don't remember seeing that. And it was because you couldn't pick out little details like that 30 years ago on TV. It was a lot harder. Another example of that right here, WrestleMania 12. On the ring, they had the big WrestleMania logo in the middle of the ring, but also all over around it, they had more faded versions of the WrestleMania ring all over the ring. And I didn't know that until I saw photos of the match, because on regular TV, you couldn't tell. Random fun fact for all you guys. Yeah, bringing Horror Warrior back in '96 could have been a heel, but WWE was fighting so hard against WCW, they were trying to recapture some of that. So it would have been tough to convince Vince of that, but maybe after they brought him in and it sucked so bad, then turn him heel. Attitude Era heel Warrior would have been pretty good because he would have sucked in the ring, but he would have claimed he was an icon. I've paved the way for all of you. He would have been pretty good. Why does nobody think to do this shit? You know, we haven't had as big of an audience as we did for WrestleMania 19 and 17. But one thing I've noticed, we had a steady audience all night. So I know it's been the same, 60 to 90 of you all night. I appreciate you guys being here, hanging out. We'll be doing more watch-alongs before the month of April is done. We'll try to hit some other pay-per-views, some other fun shows to watch. Got a chin lock on Warrior. I mean, all his fucking makeup is off by now. I remember this is the first time I got a look at what Warrior looked like. I'd seen him in magazines as Blade Runners and shit like that, and I'd seen his face with short hair, but never really like this. He's got that shit all in his eyes. I mean, if you watch this whole match, I mean, everything has just been body slams. It's been simple suplexes, rest holds, and it's been 50-50 booked the entire time. Clothesline near fall by one guy, clothesline near fall by the other. Double clotheslines, which we see, body slam, everything. Just very simple. And that was the beauty of wrestling back then that I remember so well, is you didn't have to do anything crazy. We were invested in it. We were into it. Wrestling wasn't watered down. Wrestling wasn't overdone. Wrestling wasn't 7 hours of new content every week. You got a couple of hours a week in magazines. That was it. No internet, no YouTube, no podcasters, no nothing to dissect every square inch of the product. And it was a much more innocent time. And I miss having this mentality. Not worrying about what Twitter is saying. Not worried about how many finishers somebody kicked out of. Just watching the goddamn show and appreciating it. It's what we don't do anymore. Double clothesline. Props to Hogan getting up quick on that drop down. Edge, from what I remember, he is, if you're looking in the ring towards the aisleway, he's going to be off to the right of the aisleway. Many, many rows back on the floor. Watched that Beth Phoenix Icon doc today on Peacock, and she was at a Monday Night Raw in Binghamton, New York in like 95. They got a shot of her on camera during like Razor Ramon's entrance or something like that. Pretty cool. Never knew that she went to one of those. Those are the dark days of Monday Night Raw. Those were the days of the Monday Night Raw tapings where they do a bunch. So Beth probably got to sit on a whole month of TVs at that show. Warriors trying. Who's been Warriors Mania opponents? Herc, Rude, Hogan, Savage, Triple H. I think that's it. That's his favorite. God, he's in. Look at the shape he's in. My God. Like, Hogan's never see somebody's hulking up on Hogan, and that was what was so interesting about this. I'm like, Hogan's probably shitting his yellow britches right now. Who hulks up on him? Like, look at Hogan selling this stuff. He's all over the place. Look at him taking that right hand. Look at him, the way he's just flopping around. He's Ziggler selling that. You didn't see that from Hogan. I can't express to you how. I mean, it was fine in the NWO days, but prior to that, it was rare to see him taking bumps like that and being knocked around, toyed with, manhandled. He's got to take bumps like a heel. That's got to be so unnatural for him. Hogan always does this where he grabs the boot. I don't know why. You look like such a puss when you do that. Look at Hellwig, completely paintless. Face paintless. Yes, Jamie Roy, that's it. 17, 19 in this. We did a couple of Rumble ones too. I think in the upcoming months here, let's do some In Your Houses. Let's do some Unforgiven, some Backlashes, some Judgment Days, pay-per-views like that. As we get closer to June, let's do some King of the Rings. As we get on the other side of the June, let's do some SummerSlams. So think of some suggestions, and we'll do them. Because next Sunday is Easter Sunday. We will not be here for a watch-along, so I got to have one buffer day in between my long week of streaming for WrestleMania week. So this will be the end of it until we get to the other side of Mania. And then we'll do some more. That's true. There can be only one. Long bear hug spot here. Good opportunity. Yeah, he does. Big bear hug spot in the Hogan and Andre match, too. Ooh, In Your House 7, Sean Diesel would be a fun one to do. It's a short pay-per-view, though. It's only 2 hours. We should at least try to find some 3-hour ones. One thing I could do, if there was ever any like matches, like how somebody Ryan mentioned Sean versus Diesel here, I could, if there was just an individual match and not a pay-per-view, and it was just one match, I could pre-tape those, release them as videos. Serve the same purpose. That way we wouldn't have to do them live. Save the live stuff for the long shows. Might be an idea. Already been kind of brainstorming some format changes for this year on the channel. Nothing major, but just having some like different ideas. So we'll see what I come up with, but that could be one. Backlash 2000 would be fun. Backlash 2001 would be fun. Backlash 2004 would be fun. Some good backlashes. We can do some Armageddons, anything like that. Any one of those type of pay-per-views. Armageddons, No Mercies, Judgment Days, Unforgivens, Fully Loadeds, shit like that. Let's try to do those between now and May. Or between now and June, I should say. There, Hogan finally breaking this bear hug. Jesus, he's punching the shit out of Warrior's face. Oh, Earl goes down. Crazy. A major proportional problem. Hogan, use the brass knucks. I cannot believe the Warrior just dove off the top rope. That is crazy. What are you doing? Two top rope axe handles. Who are you? Macho Warrior? Now he's dancing. Wow. Huh. Hogan dodged the big shoulder tackle. Never seen anyone do that to the Warrior before. That was pretty cool. I mean, he did take quite the bump, you know? And he's got him beat. Yeah, Invasion 01 would be good. There's all good ones here. All good suggestions. A lot of times. Oh, Warrior, you lost one of your tassels. Side suplex, or belly to back to Hogan, and now Warrior's got him pinned. I loved it. They both got the body slam each other. Both got the clothesline on each other. Both got the pinfall without the ref. Earl waking up with bedhead. Look at him. Look at his hair. I'm not sure. He might even be drooling. I'm not sure. One. Wow. Because back then, that near fall that you saw just then, that now we see 6 times in every big match, you didn't see it like that. They didn't do those near falls the way they did back then. It was still a rare type of thing. Near falls can really make a match at times. That was a terrible roll-up by Hogan on Warrior. My grandma could have kicked out of that. Wow, Warrior with a top rope bump. Now they're on the floor. We got Lanza on headset over there sitting next to Fink. I didn't even notice that. Ooh, Hogan ate a post. Yeah, Hogan should have brought the flash paper. He might have been all right. It is amazing how badly they ruined their memory here by having that stinker in 98 when this match was 100 times better than it should have been. And they made a memory that we'll all remember forever. And then 8 years later, they ruin it. And he goes for the press slam, like picking up Hogan like this. Literally got him by the nuts. Oh, he barely got him up. He didn't even really get him up, really. And then the splash. They're all standing up. You knew as soon as Hogan puts his hands under it like that, he's going to push off. And here he goes. And this is where, as a kid, I was like, okay, it's going to be the same old deal. Cena wins, LOL. He'll dispose of the Warrior here. As a teenager, I did not see what they were about to do. I did not see it coming. I thought this was it. Because why would I think any differently, right? Pretty big moment, man. I mean, Hogan hulks up and beats everybody, including Andre. Finger point, and here we go. Fist 1, fist 2, fist 3. Big boot coming up. And this was the turning point right here. Leg drop. Missed. And then you knew. Big splash. And Hogan kicking out at 3.0001. My chin rubbing the carpet at this point in my house. I was like, did Hogan just get beat? Clean as a baby's ass right in the ring. See there? That's one of my favorite parts too. So Warrior wins. Earl comes in to give him the belts. And Warrior just plays, and he pushes Earl away and makes him keep the Winged Eagle. Earl fucked up. And he's like, no, you're supposed to do the spot where Hogan goes out and gets it. So they didn't show it on camera, but Earl had to then go hand the belt back. He's like, almost fucked up there. Very, very close botch there. But props to Warrior for recognizing that. And there Hogan's got it. He grabs him from Fink. The emotions. I can't tell you what was going through Greg's mind at this time. I'm like, holy fuck. Now Hogan's going to go in there and give it to him. And now for wrestling fans, they see a lot of respect moments, a lot of hugs and embraces and, presentations and shit like that. But it was rare here. So this is all a very crazy and surreal looking scene. I mean, that's so awesome. Here's the torch. It's yours. I mean, I loved that. I mean, that's a moment, no matter what you say. I hate both of these guys, but, like, that was, like, a powerful time in history, especially, like, in 1990. And the big hug and Warrior, like, Jesse putting him over during the whole thing. The man lost it, went out like a true champion. That was not characteristic of Jesse around this time. He hated Hogan. I think he hated Warrior more. I mean, of course, Warrior would go on to drop this belt. Hogan would win it back the next year. But at the time, prior to everything that happened in the future, this was a torch passing. And it was like, holy shit, we just witnessed fucking history. Dr. J to Jordan. It was unreal at the time. And it didn't quite pan out. Didn't work out with Warrior. WWE went back to Hogan. But the intent was there. They had found their guy, and Hogan agreed to do business. I mean, because without this match, what would they have sold this WrestleMania on? Who would have Hogan's opponent been? That would have been worthy enough for WrestleMania standards. I mean, Pyro, we see a little bit of Pyro around this time. We may have seen it once or twice from what I could remember. Saw a little bit in NWA, but still kind of a new thing. And they've got Hogan on the cart. I believe the cart is raised so they can kind of watch him as he goes off. And he has to watch Warrior sell. Like, that's quite the moment. Like, we're looking at Hogan as the loser there. You have to understand that was not done. Hogan never had to stand there and watch somebody else do the Hogan must pose. It's like Hogan must witness himself, the Hogan must pose. He probably had an out-of-body experience watching that shit. So, oh, look, y'all, episode 1 of season 7 of WrestleMania is up next for those of us who want to watch that. Well, anyway, that was awesome. There you go. Let me turn that off. Cool. WrestleMania 6 in the books. Yeah, probably Hogan and Savage too, but it wouldn't have been enough to sell the Skydome on. So wouldn't have been in Skydome. Probably wouldn't have been back in MSG or something. So that was a different deal. Canadian Stampede 97 would be a fun watch along. I loved that pay-per-view, especially the main event. Wasn't a really good pay-per-view per se. It was just the 10-man tag, the energy, the atmosphere in the building and stuff. That was what really made it good. Oh yeah, nearly was Tug. It could have been Hogan and Tugboat main eventing next year. Watch along WrestleMania 10. I'd be into that. We're going to be doing more WrestleManias. I think my next couple might be non-WrestleMania shows because we're just going to finish up WrestleMania, and WrestleMania is going to, we might be WrestleMania it out, but 10 would be fun. I would really enjoy to do that one, actually. Maybe we can work it in. We'll see what we can do. Certainly would be a fun one for me, as it is one of my favorite WrestleManias of all time. But anyway, I want to thank you guys for hanging out tonight. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here now because I got stuff to do. I'll turn off the timer here. And then we're going to be back up here tomorrow night, immediately following Raw. This will be our 4th day of streaming in a row. If you guys have not checked out yesterday's podcast, please do that. It's on the episode, it's on the channel right now. And the day before, we did a big podcast reviewing the final ever WCW Nitro. It was the 20th anniversary of that show this past Friday. So I did a review of that as well on the show. And then tomorrow night, we'll be up here for a Raw review. So 4 straight days of streaming. And then next week, we'll be back to normal. We're taking next Sunday off for Easter, but 1 week from tomorrow begins 7 consecutive days of streaming on the channel for WrestleMania week every single night. Go Home Raw, Hall of Fame Tuesday, night 1 and 2 of TakeOver Wednesday, Thursday, SmackDown and predictions on Friday, WrestleMania night 1 and 2 Saturday, Sunday, and then the post-WrestleMania Raw the following Monday. It's going to be a whole lot of Greg. And then I'm taking a week off. So anyway, that's coming up on the channel, so keep a lookout. And you guys have a great rest of your night. Thanks for hanging out, and I will catch you tomorrow after Monday Night Raw for what should be a pretty big review because we got Asuka and Rhea Ripley in the contract signing. Will or will we not see the Queen? We'll talk about it tomorrow. Y'all take care. Peace.